Part 22. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 214. Isn't my relationship with you closer than your relationship with your sister? These words were still lingering in my ears until Suzu Sakakihara came on stage. Fox. What does this mean? Suddenly come to yourself, suddenly come to show your kindness. Somewhat inexplicable. Suzu-chan, why are you distracted? Behind the stage, Sakai Chitano interrupted Suzaki Sakakihara's thoughts. Sorry, I was thinking about something. Sakakihara. Suzu smiled. I thought I saw Tianhai-san just now. Why is Tianhai-san in the dressing room? Sakakihara. Suzu thought for a while and replied with some dissatisfaction. According to her statement, she came to inspect the work. Inspection work. Well, let me put it simply, Sakakihara. Suzu leaned closer to her ear. She invested in the animation we are starring in now. Kishano Sakai was so surprised that she covered her mouth. Suzu-chan. Is what Suzu-chan said true? Who knows, she said that anyway. And you should also know that her family is very rich. Yeah, I know that. After all, the stomach medicine I took since childhood and the hospital I went to are all their family's business. Tian-nai, you just need to know, but don't talk nonsense. I know, keep it a secret. The staff member with a work badge hanging on his chest opened the door and reminded the people chatting inside, everyone, the time is almost up and the fans are almost here. Please prepare. Hi X5. Sakakihara. Suzu's eyes followed the staff and disappeared completely at the door. She turned back and looked at the shameful clothes she was wearing. Now that things have happened, it seems that I can only stand up. The 7 bright moons in the sky and the sea took a calm step. She walked out of the door labeled Employee Access and went straight from the backstage to the front of the stage. Here, numerous posters and peripheral products related to the work are placed on both sides of the stage. From the moment we entered the hall, people were coming and going. In addition to the staff of the Animation Production Committee, there were also some fans in casual clothes adjusting the photography equipment in their hands. If you stop here for a while, you will find a 1:1 portrait of Hidekeiho standing next to the most conspicuous table filled with books. The animated heroine in the painting is wearing a pure white dress and a sunflower summer straw hat on her head. Her white arms are raised upward to face the sun, and she salutes and smiles cutely at everyone who looks at her. Almost everyone who comes here will be attracted by this vertical painting full of sunshine. Their eyes will look towards her sunny smile, and they will feel an inexplicable power. Tianhai Kaimingyu is no exception. She stopped and looked at the character who was surrounded by many people. There is no doubt that as the lead investor, she has read the original work. To a certain extent, the heroine's story is very similar to her own when she was a child. It's just that her gender and identity have been swapped. This is one of the reasons why she chose this light novel to pave the way for her sister Chan. Couples who only love each other deeply. Amami Nanami's eyes fell on Hidekaho's portrait for a long time, and she couldn't help but murmured. She withdrew her gaze. She didn't know why, but her heart was filled with indescribable emotions. It should be described as envy. The heroine in Envy is only liked by those she likes. Special and unique. Things from my childhood flashed back in my mind like a revolving lantern. When she thought about the promise he made to her that he had not fulfilled, Tianhai Chi Minjia wanted to call him a bastard. Bastard, really bastard. Tianhai Kaimingyu wanted to say this to him personally. Can be scolded. But would you really hate it? Therefore, Tianhai Kaimingyu, who understands all this, is trying his best to calm down his anger. The only person who could say he was sorry was his sister, who also liked him. Recently she has developed a way to deal with her sister. This is also something that can't be helped. Who can let my sister take away love with a sword? Although I can understand why my sister really likes him, she has to rely on him. But judging from her status as Tian Haikimingyu, what her sister did was still unacceptable to her. She had tried to give up before. But because someone shamelessly approached her and gave her that kind of thing on her birthday. Asshole, what an asshole. Calling him a bastard 1,000 times is not enough. Sister, the mistake is that you should not have changed your mind after she changed her mind. Nanami bypassed the crowd and stood at the edge of the stage, waiting for Suzu Sakakibara's performance. Under the watchful eyes of fans, original authors, staff, and agency managers, several heroines on the stage walked out briskly. Amami Nanamijetsu can clearly observe that Sakakihara Suzu was a little uncomfortable when she first entered the room. Because the fans' surprise seemed too intense, just because her clothes were so cute and lovable. In addition, there was a preview in the author's previous talk, saying that in this volume you will see Hidekaho and Sakakihara Suzu wearing an Alice dress. This perfect replica of the anime character's outfit is a complete surprise for fans. Standing on the edge of the stage, Tian Haikimingyu could hear words like realistic heroine. This made Suzu Sakakihara on the stage extremely ashamed. Probably because her Alice dress was too eye-catching, many cameras focused on Suzu Sakakihara. This left her at a loss. There was no introduction. When a few people stood in the right position, the animation op started to sound. As the heroine in the play, Suzu Sakakihara is undoubtedly the most important C position. With the voice of heroine Hidekaho, she leads all the voice actors to dance in unison. The op is light and uplifting, mainly describing Hidekaho's sunny and cheerful character from the lyrics. Gives a pleasant and positive feeling. A dazzling sea of glow sticks and endless cheers. As well as several heroines dancing and singing loudly on the stage. Nanami looked at the appearance of Suzu Sakakibara as a voice actor idol with great interest. She seemed to be in a good mood when she saw her younger sister Chan looking slightly embarrassed. After the choral op, there is an animated one-man show by Suzu Sakakihara. She was still wearing Alice's blue and white clothes, holding the microphone in both hands, singing a beautiful melody alone with her voice. The 4 seasons of spring, summer, autumn, and winter keep alternating, and there are 2 months and 20 days in a year. It's fleeting, it's so great to have met you, it's so great to have liked you, don't be so gentle, otherwise you won't be able to say goodbye properly. This song was highly praised as soon as it was released in the 7th episode of the animation. The high-level production of the animation, coupled with the emotional insertion when the emotions are in place, many people highly praised this song after the animation ended. The covers on the end side have also maintained the top popularity of songs this quarter. Tian Haikimingyu listened expressionlessly, but the fans in front of the stage seemed to be happier after listening to it. They raised their light sticks one after another and swayed gently to the rhythm of her singing like straw blown by the spring breeze. Waves of color glowed under the dark stage. Standing on the edge of the stage and watching this performance, to put it mildly, this undoubtedly made the fans who love this work and its heroine feel high. When Suzu Sakakihara bowed to say goodbye, the audience burst into applause. Suzu-chan is great. Come on, give me a high five. This, haha, just so. As she walked off the stage, Suzu Sakakihara high-fived each other with Kishano Sakai and the voice actors who were on stage just now, and walked back to the lounge. She breathed a sigh of relief immediately, and then immediately wanted to take off the extremely shameful clothes she was wearing. It feels good to be in the spotlight. It also feels good to be praised and loved by everyone. But this outfit was too cute and had too many bows. It was really hard for her to be on stage. Aren't you going to wear such a cute outfit for a while? Sakakibara Suzu looked up following the voice and soon saw Amami Nanamijetsu sitting in the lounge drinking hot tea. She turned her head away. Humph, you don't need to worry about this, you fox. The clothes are cute. I don't need your praise. If someone sees it, they'll probably like it. Really? Sakaki Harasuzu looked over. It is true. Tian Haikaiminyu didn't care about her attitude. Let's not talk about it anymore. What do you think about what I just said? I was performing on stage just now. How could I have so much time to think about what you said? Tian Haikaiminyu said calmly, I think you should have thought about it before, but you just lacked an answer to me. How come this fox can guess everything so accurately? Sakaki Harasuzu cursed in her heart. She stood at the door of the lounge and glanced at Amami Nanamayu inside. She stepped forward and randomly found a seat opposite her to sit down. Sakaki Harasuzu poured herself a glass of hot water to drink. I think you haven't convinced me yet. Please tell me first how our relationship is closer than that between me and Julie Yulai. It's very simple, Tian Haikaiminyu answered slowly while holding tea. How many words do you usually communicate with your sister alone? Sakaki Harasuzu frowned. Think about it carefully. Think carefully. Think about it carefully and carefully. It seems so. Normally, he and Julie Yulai didn't communicate much. Instead, he communicated more with the fox Ji Minjiu. And what do you think my sister thinks of you, Sister Chan? New sister, Sakaki Harasuzu asked. To be precise, she is a sister who has no threatening power. What do you mean? It means she hasn't looked at you seriously at all. She just regards you as a little girl who only acts like a spoiled child to her brother. When Sakaki Harasuzu heard this, she suddenly felt unhappy. What's the meaning? What does it mean to be a little girl who only acts like a spoiled brat? When you showed up, you didn't know where you were. Why do you talk about yourself as if you are worthless? I was obviously the one who came first, okay. Where did you get the green onions? Sakaki Harasuzu felt depressed, but even if she didn't like the big fox, she wouldn't like the little fox either. She put down the hot water, crossed her arms and said, don't think that I will listen to your one-sided words and believe you. The fox is the most cunning animal. You can't believe a word of it. I remember my sister Chan told me at the fireworks festival before that even if she doesn't like me very much, she still treats me as a family member, right? Tian Haikaiminyu looked over with a blue eye. Yes, Sakaki Harasuzu said this, and she also admitted, so what if it is like this? Even if it is a family member, there are still those who hate it and those who don't. Tian Haikaiminyu stared at the reflection of her face in the cup. I will always remember your words, so I will try my best to help you, Sister Chan, as a family member. This time I will spend 500 million yen to invest in animation. And designated you as the heroine, for this reason. Even if I don't need you, I can do it myself. Wait, how much? Sakaki Harasuzu was shocked at that time. She stretched out her hand and looked at her fingers first. She found that she couldn't see any signs, and then looked at the emotionless profile of Xiang Tian Haikaiminyu. 500 million. It's 500 million, Tian Haikaiminyu said lightly. 500 million. A lot of money. Lots and lots of money. I'm afraid I won't be able to transfer as much as 500 million in my lifetime, right? So how many songs do you have to sing and how many animations do you have to dub for? Too much. If you use it to hit someone, you can kill them. Sakaki Harasuzu was in a turbulent mood. Of course, in order to maintain her noble character that was not influenced by money, she raised a finger and put it next to her face, closing her eyes and saying, "Humph, ha ha ha, it's just 500 million, no, it's not a big deal. How much savings does Sister Chan have?" 200,000. After Sakaki Harasuzu held back her words for a long time, she felt a little discouraged for a moment. Tian Haikaiminyu sighed again and said, Sister Chan, you have to understand that even for me, 500 million is not a small amount at all. 500 million. Sakakibara Suzu looked at Amami Nanamajetsu, and had already imagined in her mind the plot of her taking out all the pocket money her grandfather had given her since she was a child to support herself. Although it is a bit impossible, 500 million is definitely not something that Chi Minjio can use casually at his age. How much is this? Ordinary people can't earn so much in their lifetime. I still have to worry about tens of millions of pensions. She must have paid some price to get the 500 million. Tian Haikimingyu took a sip of hot tea and continued, is Sister Chen now greatly influenced by this animation? Yes, Suzu Sakakihara admitted, my Twitter followers have increased from more than 10,000 to more than 100,000. The agency has also set a salary for me that has been raised accordingly. There are more people listening to the radio drama. I will definitely take on the next film. It's also easier to pick up. How does it feel? Suzu Sakakihara pouted, her small round toe leather shoes under her blue and white dress lightly scraping the ground. It's pretty good. Many people praised me for being cute, and said they would always support you, and wrote letters of support. People say that I gave him the energy to persevere in life. Tian Haikimingyu said calmly, in this case, Sister Chen, tell me, is my relationship with you better than your relationship with your sister? Sakakihara Suzu didn't want to admit it, but it was the truth and she had to admit it. After struggling for a long time, she finally compromised and said, okay, that's it. There's no way. But soon, Suzu Sakakihara changed the topic again and said to her, but? So what, in my eyes, you and Julie Yulai are actually the same. You are indeed a little bit nicer to me, right? But recently Julie Yulai also gave me a game console. Sister Chen, you really can't tell the difference. Is a game console more expensive or 500 million yen? Sakakihara Suzu continued to say to her, you are good to me, I know, I will repay you a little, but you want me to help you, no way. Sister Chen, are you planning to support your sister? Who said we should support her? You understand their situation and letting it go is supportive. Even so, this matter is completely out of my control. Suzu Sakakihara kicked the ground unhappily, who am I to stop him from liking Julie Yulai? I am nothing. Sakakihara Suzu kicked the ground for a long time before she raised her head. Only then did she realize that Amami Kimingyu had come to her side at some point. She came closer to her and talked in her ear, tickling her every detail. Haven't you noticed that someone spends less time with you recently? Haven't you noticed that someone has been paying less attention to you lately? Haven't you noticed that your role for more than 10 years has been gradually replaced? The whispers of the 7 bright moons in the sky and the sea are whispered in my ears and penetrate into my heart. Didn't you realize, sister, that I even took away your sister's identity? When Sakakihara Suzu heard the last part, she clasped her hands in front of her body, lowered her head when she heard it, and stared at her hands that were nervous at the hem of her blue and white skirt. Who is accompanying him in a dual identity now, and who is using a dual identity to act coquettishly to him now? And who is deliberately spending more time with his sister every day in order to take care of her? The air became heavier and heavier, and the breathing became more and more serious. Sakakibara Suzu raised her head, turned her face, and looked at Amami Nanami. You didn't mean to tell me this on purpose and then confuse me, did you? Tian Haikimingyu took a slow sip of hot tea, and then responded in a very ordinary way, it's okay for you to think that this is deception, and the tone is indeed true, but Sister Chen, you can think about it carefully, are these words true? I just made these words clear to you. There was a long silence. Chi Minjio is indeed a bad woman. The kind that looks like a supervillain in a TV show. Sakakihara Suzu raised her head, even if this is the case, I will not completely deal with Julie Yulai. You should first tell me what you want me to do. Tian Haikimingyu put down the teacup and said calmly. It's very simple to say so much. I don't need you to do too much, and I don't want you to do anything excessive, Sister Chan. I just want you to stand by my side when you stand in line. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 215. Brother, welcome home. After returning home, Sakakibara Raku just brushed the snow off his shoulders and entered the living room, when he saw Amamai Kuruori, who welcomed him home. She had already arrived home first. As soon as she saw Raku Sakakibara coming home, she briskly took the school bag from his shoulder and looked at him with a smile on her face. Sakakibara Raku was a little confused, and Juliuli seemed to be looking forward to his return. What's wrong? This afternoon Tianhai Jurili's voice was filled with a little excitement. She looked at the confusion on Sakakibara's face and deliberately gave it up for a while before saying quietly, Nana Mingzuki is not at home this afternoon. She was not at home. Sakakibara did not go to the literature club this afternoon. Nanamai Minjio said she had something to do and went home first. I had nothing to do in the afternoon, and was asked to go for a run by Kinja, a senior I had recently met, so I went for a run. Well, Tianhai Juliuli nodded, she has something to deal with. She will leave after returning home today. Is there something wrong with her? Sakakibara thought for a long time, but didn't figure out what Tio Yukinyu meant. Her daily life consists of getting up, eating potato chips and fried rice, going to school, eating potato chips and fried rice, and after school, eating potato chips and fried rice. Amamai Kuruori noticed Sakakibara Raku's doubts, and after organizing her words a little, she said, well, let's put it this way, Chi Minjio can actually control a large amount of money. There is a foundation in her name, and the initial funds were given by her grandfather. Her pocket money. This foundation usually takes venture capital as its profit goal, which means it will invest in some companies if nothing happens. The legal issues are borne by my father's firm, and it is usually managed by a dedicated professional manager, but the actual controller is still Chi Minjio. Under normal circumstances, Chi Minjio will not go there. She will only go and take a look when she suddenly has an idea. Foundation? Sakakibara Raku should say that this is the entertainment method of the rich. Treat the goal that many people strive for throughout their lives as something that can be played casually. He can easily control hundreds of millions of funds and give new hope to some companies that are on the verge of bankruptcy. Of course, it remains to be discussed whether Tianhai Kaimingyu treats her foundation with a playful attitude. What about Juliuli? Me? I'm in there too, but I don't care much about it. Usually Chi Minjio takes care of it. Amamai Kuruori was obviously not very interested in this topic. She came to Sakakibara Raku, took his hand and said, well, while Nanamayu is not at home right now, do we want to play games together? Raku Sakakibara was a little dumbfounded. Just a second ago, he was discussing the foundation, a behemoth that could easily flow tens of millions of dollars in capital and control the pulse of many companies. However, one of its controllers only wanted to play games with him. Sakakibara Raku felt that this sounded a bit fanciful and unreal. But regardless of her family status, Juliuli is indeed just a high school girl. She may have become playful due to the excessively strict discipline and manners upbringing in the past. Why did Lejun suddenly stop talking? Did what I just said put pressure on you? Well, if not, it's impossible. After all, you can control so much money at will, Sakakibara admitted frankly. Then Lejun, don't think about those things. In fact, those things have nothing to do with me. The money was given by Grandpa, and I didn't contribute anything in management, so Lejun just treats me as an ordinary person. Good. Tianhai Juliuli said, and deliberately moved closer to his arm. Sakakibara knew that she was deliberately trying to help him ease the atmosphere, so he no longer struggled with that point. He smiled and said to the fragrant girl next to him, "Julie really wants to play games. Hee. Isn't that good?" The snow-white slender arms are held over each other. Every time Tianhai Julie approaches, people have the urge to hug her. The contact of skin gives off an intimate sweetness. Of course. Then let's go play Brawl. Or King of Fighters, Dynasty Warriors, etc. This time I will be better than you, Lejun. Julie seems to really like games. But Julie's new target hasn't been found yet, right? Are you planning to use the game as your new target? Although I really like playing games, if I set this as my goal, I seem to be missing a bit of feeling. Amamikura got closer and closer, and her words were full of coquettishness. Sakakihara Raku couldn't stand her being so clingy to him, so he took the opportunity to hug her slender and soft waist. Could it be that Julie isn't looking for you at all? Of course not, Tianhai Julie protested, perhaps because she was shy in front of him. Her voice was intermittent, and she also had a little cute complaint, "I'm looking for it very seriously, but there are some other ones recently." Things have to be considered. Other things. Don't tell me. Also, Tianhai Julie poked the school uniform tie on his chest with her finger. "Li Zhengguanghui accused me. Didn't you say you wanted to find it with me? You haven't found a new target yet." That's not necessarily the case. Tianhai Julie stopped poking his finger and raised her sky blue eyes to look at him. "Did you find Lejun? It doesn't really count. Haven't I been running at noon lately?" Senior Kinja, whom I met while running, is planning to invite me to join the track and field club. I haven't agreed yet, right? The senior's girlfriend is Shishi Umino, and she seems to be very familiar with you. Umino-senpai. Yes, that's her. Tianhai Julie nodded. "I know her, Umino-senpai, and she has some friendship with our family. She was in the same school when she was in junior high school. As for Kinja-senpai, his family and Umino-senpai's family are family friends, and the relationship between them is very good. It's something that parents know and support. In this way, Senior Kinja, Senior Umino, and Juliuri are actually in the same circle. No wonder they know each other. Umino-senpai asked us if we were in love before. Did Lejun tell her?" Tianhai Julie was a little hopeful. Sakakihara smiled. "Of course I want to say this, but the main thing is you. If you want me to say it, I will say it." Tianhai Julie sounded very happy when he said this, as if he had unconditional support in his heart, and was filled with warmth. "Although I also want to say it, it's not very suitable at the moment, right? After all, we still have the relationship of sworn brothers and sisters. Well, not many people in school know about our relationship now, right? That's true, but there are many people who know me in the school. If this matter reaches Grandpa's ears, I don't know how he will react. Be opposed to. It's not like Grandpa doesn't like to interfere in my life and Chi Minjio's. On the contrary, he takes good care of me. Of course, Grandpa still doesn't have a good relationship with Dad. To be on the safe side, I'd better meet Grandpa formally and let everyone know about this." "That's okay too. Then let's go play games together." "Okay, let's play together." Sakakihara Raku was pulled into her room by Amamikururi with a smile and closed the door. "Then we sit on the bed where she sleeps and play games with her." Raku Sakakihara is naturally willing to play games. He usually works hard enough, but it is good to relax occasionally. But Julie didn't just invite herself to play games. As she continued to fight, she sneaked closer to him, and before she knew it, she was very close to her. "Let me tell you, didn't Julie invite me to play games? Of course it's fun to play games, but the main thing is, want to be with me." Sakakibara's words revealed the inner thoughts of Amamikururi. which made her feel shy after her mood was revealed, and she reached out to lift the hair in front of her ears. The sitting posture is quite girlish. Then Julie Yulai, come here a little more. Tianhai Julie Yulai slowly moved her legs on the bed and moved closer to him. Sakakibara was happy to see that she was close enough, and reached out to hold the underside of her arms, holding her on his lap and sitting on her side. It was probably the first time he sat on a boy's lap, and Tianhai Julie Yulai's ears turned even redder. She is not too small. At 170 centimeters tall, she is definitely tall for a girl, and Sakakibara is much taller than her. However, she is sitting sideways on her lap, and her head is still a few inches higher than Sakakibara. Centimeter. Julie Yulai is my girlfriend now, right? Yeah, she agreed shyly, her eyebrows lowered and her face pink. The girl's body is quite soft, even when sitting on her lap, it is a light experience. In addition, this was at home, the air conditioner was turned on, Julie Yulai changed into shorts at home, and the girl's skin came into contact, feeling warm, smooth and comfortable. Sakakibara wants to maintain this dominant offensive momentum. But no matter what, he is still an innocent boy falling in love for the first time. Facing a beautiful girl sitting on his lap, he would blush accidentally. Ahem. Is it because yesterday's date didn't go through? You're so clingy today, Li Yulai. Well, there won't be any time for the two of us later. Want me to stay with you a little longer? Think. This can be regarded as knowingly asking. As for why Sakakibara asked knowingly, he just wanted to hear the sweet and greasy voice of his girlfriend. Such a thinking really melts into one's heart. I feel her love for me and her dependence on me. Julie Yulai is really cute. Sakakibara thought so, feeling the heat welling up deep in his chest, he said to Kurayuri, who was very close in front of him and slightly shrinking his head, I feel like you are a coquettish child sometimes, Ruri. Tianhai Julie Yulai responded shyly, children only act coquettishly towards the people they like. Luli, do you want a kiss? Isn't it good to keep kissing all the time? Huh? Why do you say that? Don't like kissing? No, it's not that I don't like kissing. I also like it very much. When I kiss, my heart feels warm and my head feels light. It's very comfortable. It's just. The more Tianhai Julie Yulai spoke, the more shy her beautiful eyes became in front of him, and her voice became lower and lower, as thin as a gossamer. When you kiss, you will be very embarrassed. Her white, slender hand fiddled with the direction axis of the game controller without any meaning. Excuse me? In other words, she is hinting that she should take the initiative? Julie Yulai likes boys who take the initiative to kiss her? This question simply passed through Sakakibara's mind. After a brief 1/10 second of exchange of shy glances with the girl in his arms, Sakakibara tried to approach her. This process was slow, so slow that Tianhai Julie Yulai's eyes blinked, looked, and closed during this period. She wanted to see him, but she didn't dare to see him when she actually saw him. Until the tips of their noses touched, they were frozen for a few seconds. Then I'll kiss you. After she agreed with a girlish shyness. With an unquenchable mood, Sakakibara gently touched her cheek. Then, following the tiny and invisible fluff on her face, the itch wandered away, and his lips closed on her pursed mouth. Tianhai Julie Yulai held his breath and tilted his head back almost subconsciously. But after feeling his aura, he naturally cooperated. The pheromones that come into contact between your lips and teeth, the feeling of being kissed by the person you like, makes your mind go blank. His heartbeat was racing, and his lips felt so full that he could only breathe out through his nose. I kissed Julie Yulai more than once. But Sakakibara Raku can deeply understand every time what the so-called one-kiss fragrance is. Filled with the fragrance of a girl, The hormones in her body caused her brain to unconsciously secrete a pheromone called softness, and a tingling current passed through her back and entered the cerebral cortex. There is nothing more to do, just the moment of kissing. Air, time, and breath all came to a standstill. Amami Kuruori paused again, then looked up at Sakakibara Raku. In front of him, the sky-blue eyes shined with the brilliance of satisfaction and sweetness. Lejun, you will definitely be responsible, right? The gentle murmur with a hint of sweetness sounded closer than before. I still want to eat the food you cooked for me, I still want you to like me, and I still want to get your care and support. In the same way, I also like you very much, and I will do my best to be nice to you. I only do this to you, so Lejun will definitely be responsible, right? A direction sweeter than the sound passed past the lips. Before Sakakihara realized that it was the girl's fragrance that she had just touched, she reached out and hugged her, and put her ear against her soft and hot cheek. This made Sakakibara's expression stagnant, and he experienced an unprecedented sense of dependence on her. His hands touched her long, silky flaxen hair and placed them on her curves and petite back. This feeling of being deeply loved is something that I could never experience in my previous life. I will definitely do it. I will definitely not give up on you, Liulai. He replied. Hug each other for a long time. Tianhaijuli Yulai moved her face away. Different from the heavy confession just now, her face was full of warmth at this moment. That. Not enough kisses yet. Yeah, I still want to be kissed for a while. Sakakibara looked at the shy girl, paused for a moment, and then kissed her. Although Julie Yulai was extremely shy about this, she never refused. After they separated again, the girl's eyes flashed with light. She was squirming and pursed her lips, as if she was planning something unspeakable. Sakakihara Raku couldn't tell what she was thinking, so he deliberately turned his face and said, "Let's continue playing games." No, no, Tianhaijuli Yulai quickly stopped him. What? No, I won't play games anymore. Huh? So what does Ruri-chan want? If it's a kiss, didn't you just kiss me? That's not enough. So cute. Sakakibara smiled slightly. Does Ruri-chan like me? Like. Still want a kiss? Want. Faced with such a cute Ruri-chan, why not agree to her request? If possible, Sakakibara Raku would not want to hurt Kuruori at all. Of course, male rationality is so fragile in this situation. Facing the pink lips of the girl sitting on his lap, he always wants to do something according to his heart. But if he kisses her against her will, it will always be Julie Yulai who gets hurt. Therefore, Sakakihara put his head over, first touched her lips slightly, and then kissed her again after getting her exact response. The air conditioner was on in the room, and even though he was only wearing ordinary clothes, his body temperature had reached a scorching level before he knew it, and it continued to rise. Sakakibara enjoyed the kiss and gently laid Amami Kuruori down on the bed where she usually slept. Pulling her scented quilt over, they covered their heads. The quilt was bulging, and soon the smell of fighting came from inside. Stop it, Lejun, don't tickle me. I just bumped into it accidentally. Lejun did it on purpose. Bad. No way, I was really careless. No, that's bad. Touch my waist and I'll scratch it back. Let's see what the trick is. No, 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 don't come here. Watch out. No, ha ha ha, don't scratch my waist. No, no, I have to give it back. Obviously, it's obviously you, Lejun, ha ha ha. The two of them were quarreling, and their heads popped out of the same messy quilt with red faces. They looked at each other on the pillow for a while, and it took a while to calm down. Do you want to kiss me for a while longer? I don't want it, Lejun, you are so evil. Didn't you ask me to kiss you all the time before? No, I want to kiss you. That's a nice thought, I don't, uh, chirped for a while. The two gasped. How's it going, Li Yulai, is it? Tianhaiju Li Yulai directly raised his head and blocked his mouth. Puff, puff. It lasted for a while. Sakakibara himself didn't know when he lay down. Amamai Kuruuri put his hands on both sides of him, his hair was messy, and he looked at himself lying on the pillow with a blush on his face. It was not easy to separate. Wait a minute, Ruri-chan, I. Lejun. Tianhaiju Li Yulai didn't hesitate this time and blocked his mouth again directly. Sakaki Hararaku is suffering from something he cannot express. Luli, wait a minute. Yeah, it's such a shame. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 216. Why do you smell like sister all over your body? This was the question she asked when Raku Sakakibara stopped Nanamai when she went to the bathroom after she returned home. This is it. The girl stood up straight again, obviously expressionless. However, Sakaki Hararaku could vaguely see her hidden unhappiness. Tianhai Kaimingyu approached him and gently sniffed his clothes twice. Faced with her strange movement, Sakaki Hararaku was forced to take 2 steps back, and his heels touched the corner. It smells like sister. Tianhai Chi Minjiao took back her head and stood up straight again when she looked up at him. Chi Minjiao, listen to me first. Tianhai Kaimingyu directly interrupted the scumbag's speech, crossed his arms and crossed his chest. Brother, how long have you and your sister been in the room? The girl stared straight at him with eyes as deep and emotionless as the ice ocean in winter. Sakaki Hararaku was slightly embarrassed. Looking at her unhappy look, how could it be that he was in some kind of state of being caught and raped by his wife? The little Kyo in front of her remained motionless. Sakaki Hararaku said seriously, Kuriyuri, you actually invited me to her room to play games. Playing games until your whole body is covered with your sister's scent. It's normal for you to get some bad taste while playing games, isn't it? Do you think I will believe it? This is a fact. Tianhai Kaimingyu closed her eyes slightly and saw through his thoughts. Then besides playing games, what else did you do? Did you lose your virginity? Losing your virginity? This is not a joke. I am very serious. A serious guy would stare at my legs every day. This is a hobby. To be honest, I'm super serious. Then what? What are you and your sister doing while I'm not at home? There is only one corner from the living room to the bathroom, which means that Raku Sakakibara, who has his back against the wall, can see Kururi Amamai who is processing vegetables behind the open kitchen. She was peeling potatoes, looking light and cheerful. In contrast, the twin girls standing in front of her, who were born only 5 minutes apart from her, were staring at him with 3 no faces that were flatter than the Pacific Ocean. This made Sakaki Hara feel happy. You feel so guilty that you even look at your sister specifically. Guilty? No, can't be called guilty at all. It stands to reason that Julie Yulai is his actual girlfriend. In fact, Sakaki Hararaku should feel guilty in front of Kururi. However, this matter is completely unclear. I have also said that I am responsible for Chi Minjiao. If there is no sound. Tianhai Kaimingyu didn't say a word and walked straight back to her room without looking back. Clang. There was a rather clear door knock, and the door of Chi Minjiao's room closed tightly, and then there was the sound of locking. This movement even caused Suzu Sakaki Hara, who was staying in her room behind her, to poke her head out and ask, "What's going on?" Sakakibara looked at the quietly closed door of Nanamai's room. Under the light of the corridor, he vaguely caught a glimpse of the back of Tianhai Kaiminyu, who had just walked in. "Brother," Sakakihara Suzu glanced at Sakakihara Raku's motionless back. After a while, Sakakihara turned around, reached out and touched her head, and said with a smile, "It's nothing, you are busy with your business." At dinner time, Sakakibara Raku and Amamai Kurayuri prepared 4 dishes and 1 soup together. The dishes and rice were all served, but the shadow of the 7 bright moons in the sky and sea was still missing. "Chi Minjayu doesn't want to eat," Tianhai Yulai said as he took off his anti-scalding gloves. Sakakibara Suzu held the phone in both hands and read to the screen. "Ah, she said she doesn't want to eat today." "Don't eat? Why don't you eat?" As if she noticed something, Amamai Kurayuri looked at Sakakibara Raku, lowered her voice and asked, "Is she angry?" "It's very likely." "What are you angry about?" "I'm not sure about this either." Sakakihara Raku had already roughly guessed it, but because it involved emotional issues, he couldn't explain it too clearly to Julie Yulai. Tianhai Julie Yulai is very smart and knows what things are offensive, so he doesn't ask too many questions. She specially presented a dinner and walked to the door of Tianhai Kaiminyu's room. After knocking a few times and shouting a few times, she turned back. "No," she said, she didn't really want to eat it. Sakakihara Suzu put her hands on the table, supported her fleshy face and said, "Wasn't it fine when you came back?" "That's right," Sakakihara Raku answered. "How about eating quickly? Just leave a portion for her. When she wants to eat, she can heat it up in the microwave. I'm almost starving." "I sang and danced today." Suzu Sakakibara didn't feel too good. "If you want to know why Chi Minjayu is angry, you don't need to think that Chengdu has something to do with the smelly old man. He wanted to help her because she helped him, but he didn't know how to help her well. It's better to just let nature take its course and finish eating. It can only be the late at night. After early morning." Sakakibara couldn't remember how many times he had gotten up in the early morning in the past few months. But he could still tell whether Xiaoqiu was angry. "She didn't eat. The only time I saw her after dinner was when she went out to the bathroom to take a shower." Sakakibara secretly opened the door of his house and sneaked out quietly. "The cold wind at night was really cold, and the pajamas I was wearing couldn't bear it at all." Sakakibara crossed his arms and looked left and right at the rooms of Kuruyuri and Suzu. Well, they didn't move. Finally, Raku Sakakibara came to the door of Nanamai's room. Reaching out to squeeze the bone-chilling doorknob, Sakakibara used the little light from the phone screen to suddenly see a note with elegant handwriting taped to the door. He took a closer look. No visitors. So, Xiaoqiu actually expected that he would come to find her? Sakakibara reached out and pressed the door handle. "I found it couldn't be pressed down at all. It's locked. It is definitely not suitable to knock on the door at night, as it will wake everyone up. Then we can only continue to follow the old path." Tianhai Kaiminyu's room was a girl's bedroom that was so neat and tidy that there was almost no trace of clutter. Sakakibara quietly entered her room through the window outside her desk. There were no lights on in the room, and there was almost no moonlight in winter. There was only the chill that made me tremble with the cold wind just now on the 16th floor. Sakakihara closed the window smoothly and turned on the phone screen while trembling. With the dim light of the screen, it shines along the overcrowded bookcase toward the bed on the other side. Tianhai Kaiminyu was in the bedroom, covered in quilt, and there was no movement. At least she didn't make any noise until Sakakihara Raku came in through the window. Getting a little closer, Sakakihara saw a head poking out from the thick quilt, and opposite the head was a life-size shark doll. She seems to be sleeping holding the shark doll he gave her. Her eyes were closed, she was wearing shark pajamas, and her hairstyle was a low ponytail that she only wore at night. Seeing her sleeping with a shark in her arms, Sakakibara remembered the real memories of the past that he had seen in his dream. When he came to see Xiaoqiu in the evening, Sakakibara certainly wanted to apologize. But now that she was asleep, it was not easy to wake her up and apologize again. Raku Sakakihara just stood beside her bed, feeling cold for a long time without a quilt and only a set of pajamas. The flying snow in the sky above Tokyo is clearly visible outside the window. What are you here for? Sakakihara hugged his shoulders, not sure whether he should say it was a blessing in misfortune, but Xiaoqiu suddenly spoke. Chi Minjiao, you didn't sleep. So what if I didn't sleep? Didn't I write a letter outside saying I refuse to receive guests? I am. However, someone still secretly opened the window of my room and came in. No matter what excuse he used, this is a crime. Sakakibara was silent for a while, then looked at the quilt covering her body and asked, Nana Mingzuki, are you angry? No. You must be angry. Is it because of what happened to Julie Yulai and me this afternoon? I don't care about this kind of thing. Sakakibara sighed inwardly. At this time, he must apologize to Kazuto no matter what. But just as Raku Sakakibara opened his mouth, he was interrupted by the prophetic voice of Nanami Nanami. I don't need your apology. This feeling of being choked halfway is uncomfortable, but compared to the past, Sakakihara Raku has an obvious advantage. That's shameless. When Tianhai Kaimingyu heard that he had stopped moving, she was about to close her eyes and sleep. Unexpectedly, someone opened her quilt and got in. For a moment, she understood what a stinky man meant. What are you up to? I'm here to commit a crime. Sakakibara lied beside her pillow, saw her looking back at her cold and extremely beautiful face, and smiled at her in the aroma of green apples. You didn't say that. Is that so? Breaking into a girl's bedroom is a crime no matter what, so I guess if you commit a crime, you have to walk away with more interest, right? Pure scumbag. Tianhai Kaimingyu dropped the sentence coldly, turned around, and turned back, no longer looking at his face. 7 bright moons. 7 bright moons. 7 bright moons. July. July month. Sakakihara kept poking her back with his fingers. In addition, his almost harassing voice made Tianhai Kaimingyu sleep restless and unbearable. Rage value keeps at 1. No matter how well educated Tianhai Kaimingyu is, she still can't stand him harassing her like this behind her back. Have you had enough trouble? Who told you to call me that? Then she turned around and stuffed a small shark doll ball into his mouth. When Tianhai Chi Minjiu gets angry, her face will only become colder, but she will not get angry. Sakakibara took the shark out of his mouth and placed it in the gap between the two of them. Then he smiled at her in her bed and said, I shout like that because I like you. Scumbag. Be a scumbag. You said I won't be a scumbag twice anyway. Raku Sakakihara wanted to hold her hand, but she immediately pushed her away in disgust. I just want to apologize to you and ask you a question. Why are you so angry? Tianhai Kaimingyu said nothing. Xiaoqiu is a tsundere. Cold and arrogant. This is something Sakakihara Raku has known for a long time. What is the method to deal with Leng Ao? Be tough. Although Sakakibara doesn't want to be tough on her at all, he must do it now. Only in this way will Xiaoqiu be willing to be with him. Ahem, Chi Minjiu, please don't pinch the flesh on my waist, please don't, it really hurts. What other crooked ideas are you thinking about in your head? No, I respect you in Kyo from the bottom of my heart. You respect me enough to want to touch me, right? Respect me enough to run into my room without my consent, right? Respect me enough to get under my bed, right? Chi Minjiu, why don't you always get into my bed? I didn't say anything. Of course, the little wife was angry, and Sakakihara Raku could only respond sternly. This is actually a manifestation of love. Then does it count if I squeeze your waist? Forget it. Why don't you count it? The more you hurt me, the more you love me. Please pinch me a little longer. Do you still like me stepping on you? Driven by the pain, Sakakibara could only agree in pain. You like me, please do so. After Tian Haikaiminyu heard what he said, she didn't make things difficult for him anymore. I can't tell that my brother still has this special hobby. As my adopted sister, you have the nerve to say this. Also, what you said just now was forced by you. If you don't do my business, it's absolutely not your intention. Sakakibara rubbed the flesh on his waist and saw that Nanami was in a better mood, so he decided to ask about business. Chi Minjio, why were you angry just now? What do you think? Because I smell like Julie Yulai all over my body. As I said just now, it's not because of this. But if you ask me if I hate it, I will answer without hesitation that I hate it. Then Chi Minjio, what are you doing? What do you think? I can't figure it out. Tian Haikaiminyu withdrew her gaze from his face, waited for a while, and then said. The main problem lies in your attitude towards my sister and me. In terms of attitude, I will try to treat you all equally. Do you really think so? Tian Haikaimingyu's voice suddenly turned cold, as if the warmth just moments ago had disappeared without a trace. When I asked you what you and your sister were doing at home, what was your first reaction? Didn't you just take a look at your sister? What does this mean? Doesn't this mean you feel guilty towards your sister? And me, Sakakibara Raku. You said you like me. Do you ever feel even a little guilty about me? Every time you are with me, you feel guilty about your sister. What about me? Staring into the eyes of Nanami Minjio, Sakakibara could even see the hidden emotions in her heart. It's because I don't feel guilty when facing her. When he faced Julie Yulai, he felt guilty. It was precisely because Chi Minjio felt that she did not love her sincerely that she returned to her room alone and depressed, with the door locked, not eating and not wanting to respond to anything. Just a hugger lying quietly on the bed with the shark doll. Sleep quietly alone. The reason why she was holding that object was also very simple. Only there could she feel a little bit of warmth. Even if the warmth came from memories from more than 10 years ago, it was something that only belonged to her. After understanding this, Sakakibara Raku suddenly felt something uncomfortable that seemed to be stuck in his heart. But I can understand it, Tian Haikaiminyu added. After all, for you, your sister is your current girlfriend and your favorite person, and I am just a poor person who is given charity by you. Nana Mingzuki Sakakibara didn't know why, but his gums were a little sore. Don't say that. Then what do you mean to me? Don't worry, I absolutely love you. I don't want to lie to you, and I won't lie to you again. As you said, and Grandma also told me, I haven't paid off my previous debts. Because how come I don't feel guilty about you? It's just that when I face you, I think of Julie Yulai again, so I feel a little distracted. Tian Haikaiminyu stared at him for a while, then turned around. I don't want to blame you, it's just that I feel uncomfortable and have nowhere to talk about it. Just let me be alone for a while. You can come to me and try to coax me. To be honest, I'm still a little happy about the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 217. Nanamayu's back looks unhappy to Sakakibara Raku. Lonely. After Nanamijio said what she just said, Sakakibara Raku also knew that tonight's matter was indeed all down to him. He obviously said that he liked her, but he rarely showed any affection towards her. When facing her, he still harbored a sense of guilt for Julie Yulai, thus ignoring Chi Minjio's feelings. This caused Chi Minjio to feel like you never liked me at all. Close the door, lock it, and don't eat. It's all out of anger. No, maybe Chi Minjio shouldn't be called angry. She just continued to stay alone. 7 bright moons. Dot. No response for a long time. Nana Mingzuki Sakakibara shouted again to the scent-filled back. Only then did Tianhai Chi Minjio answer, "Why don't you go back to accompany your girlfriend? What else do you want from me? Don't say that, I really like you. Just pity me." Alas, because she said she likes smart people, she changed from the little girl with little confidence before to what she is now. She has never done anything to feel sorry for herself. Thinking back on my daily interactions with her, the wedding photos I took with her, and the time when I looked into her eyes, it seemed like time had stopped. How could you not like it? Chi Minjio, don't be unhappy, okay? Take your hands away. Tianhai Kaimingyu became impatient after being poked by him, and turned her body back. Why are you so annoyed? Didn't you say you would be happy if you were coaxed by me? Sakakihara tried to hold her hand. You are so shameless. You only listened to the first half of my sentence but not the second half. I said I just want to be alone for a while. Tianhai Kaimingyu swatted away his extended paw. Please, can you go back to your bedroom alone? Sakakibara stretched out his hand again. That's not possible. Being alone will only cause trouble and make you feel uncomfortable all the time. How happy it is to have someone to talk to you under the quilt. What do you want to say? Tianhai Kaimingyu asked, and swatted his hand away again. I just want to care about you. Unnecessary. Don't say you don't need it. You said you like it when I coax you. Can you just pretend I didn't say anything? This is not okay. Seeing that he continued to be shameless, Tianhai Kaimingyu chose to ignore him, turned her back directly, and slept with her little shark in her arms. Sakakihara Raku was happy to see her sulking like this. She was as proud as a high mountain flower outside. At home, she is a little girl with twin tails and likes to sleep with her dolls in her arms. The twin ponytails are really cute. Sakakibara stayed behind her and couldn't help but tugged on her low ponytail with his hands. This naturally made Tianhai Kaimingyu quite impatient. After poking my back, you come to grab my hair again. Are you out of your mind? I just want to talk to you. Tianhai Kaimingyu stuffed the small shark doll into his mouth and sighed helplessly. Who is coaxing whom? Well, don't you still feel guilty about your sister in front of me? Is this something you can deny? I do not deny. Then did you ever feel guilty about me when you were getting along with your sister? This has never happened before. Sakakihara was happy to see that she didn't want to talk to him anymore, and quickly took her slender wrist and said, wait a minute, Chi Minjio, listen to me first. I really can't do this. Blame it on me. You have to understand that I fell in love with Julie Yulai first, and then you. What do you mean? You mean that I am a third party? I shouldn't bother you. Of course not. I have calculated the timeline. Between you and Julie Yulai, I must have met you first. For you, Julie Yulai is the third person. Tianhai Kaimingyu became interested in his words and motioned for him to continue speaking with her eyes. Then, for various reasons, I accidentally forgot about you and the agreement between you and me. Later, I fell in love with the gentler Julie Yulai first. From your perspective, Julie Yulai is the third party. It was entirely me who was wrong. It was you who was wrong. Well, yes, I was the one who was wrong. Sakakihara smiled and took her hand, sliding his thumb on the back of her delicate hand under the quilt. Look, I told you that I like you even more. I didn't lie to you at all, so don't be angry, okay? Scumbag. Tianhai Kaimingyu closed her eyes and turned her face away slightly under the attack of his voice. She didn't know why her voice suddenly became much weaker. This is a show. Xiaoqiu's attitude softened. Taking advantage of the victory, Sakakibara moved his elbows and moved his head on the pillow towards her. Nana Mingzuki, don't be angry. Why are you so close? This is my room. Are you not angry anymore? Is it annoying to keep asking, am I kiming you side again? To her, Sakakibara Raku was too shameless, and there was no way he could coax anyone continuously. If he was a bit more temperamental, he would have had the self-awareness to leave on his own initiative. Chi Minjio, just tell me what you want me to do, so that you feel comfortable. You like me? There's no need to ask this question, of course. Then kiss me. Sakakibara looked at the dull eyes on the opposite side, which were less than 10 centimeters away from him. Don't want to. How can you not want to do this? But if you want to kiss, you have to have a reason, right? What reason do you need to kiss me? Right? No matter what reason you need to kiss, just kiss if you want. Nanamijio said so, and Sakakibara Raku had no reason to refuse. Anyway, I kissed her more than once, and it didn't matter how many times I kissed her. With this thought in mind, Sakakibara leaned his head towards her. Then the lips met. Ft, ft. The scent of green apple softened from her lips. Kissing a girl is naturally pleasurable. It's just that unlike Julie Yuli, kiming you will be more active. When the girl's lips touch from above, there will be a strong possessive emotion. This strong feeling oppresses the heart, making it beat faster, and the breathing will also slow down. Hold your breath. Sakakibara took a deep breath. Is this enough? Not enough. Okay, I'll accompany you and continue. Well. Sakakibara took the initiative to hug her slender waist and hugged her into his arms. Kissing each other, the two of them hid under the quilt and pulled the corners of the quilt up over their heads. The quilt is filled with the scent of shower gel, the scent of hormones, and the softness of the girl's arms and lips. Sakakibara Raku felt that when his hands pinched her tiny arms, even through a layer of shark pajamas, he could still feel her slenderness and beauty. You don't even need to think about anything with your eyes closed, you just need to empty your mind and feel the soft lips of the girl named Tianhai Kaimingyu on your lips. When he poked his head out again, Tianhai Kaimingyu's hands were supported on both sides of his head, reaching the upper position. Sakakibara Raku was confused. He didn't know why he was down there again. Didn't you take the initiative to kiss him? After kissing, Nanami's face remained indifferent. She looked down at the panting Raku Sakakibara below. You still have a lot of sister flavor, both on your body and in your mouth. Is it possible that this is Nanamijio's hallucination? Sakakibara lay on the pillow and saw the flaxen twin ponytails stretching behind her body. What I know best is the smell of my sister. How long have you kissed today? More than half an hour, Sakakibara answered truthfully. Okay, you won't be allowed to sleep for the next hour. Tianhai Kaimingyu raised her eyes and her delicate chin. Etc. 1 hour. Not willing, Tianhai Chi Minjio's eyes instantly turned cold. No, absolutely not. Lie still. Do you know how to kiss properly? How could Sakakibara Raku know this? He is just a simple person. First of all, clasp your hands tightly. Tianhai Kaimingyu took the initiative to climb onto his palm and forcefully opened the gap between his 5 fingers. Stretch out the other hand as well. Sakakibara couldn't laugh or cry. Why did he become the one being demonstrated? After a while, Tianhai Chi Minjio's slender fingers were intertwined with his, tightly fitting. For Sakakibara Raku, there is only one word for comfort. The girl's hand was like a piece of warm jade, delicate and smooth. Unlike jade, her hand felt more real, and the feeling of interweaving between her fingers was more delicate. Too, forget it. Tianhai Kaimingyu suddenly lost interest in the middle of reading. What's wrong? I'm too lazy to say it, I'm too tired. You just need to know that you can't smell like a sister in front of me. Chi Minjio, actually, it's so good to sleep in the middle of the night. Stop talking nonsense. Tianhai Kaimingyu sat up. I'm hungry. What? Sakaki Hararaku really didn't hear it. Tian Hikaiminyu seemed to be enduring something, her face was a little red. I said, I haven't had dinner yet. Oh, I understand, I'll help you make it. What do you want to eat? Are you asking knowingly? Fried rice with potato chips, right? Wait a moment. Raku Sakakibara got up quickly and opened the door of Nanami's bedroom. After making sure that everyone's room door was closed tightly, he spent more than 10 minutes cooking with the leftover cold rice from the evening and some potato chips from the refrigerator. Ordered a simple midnight snack of fried rice. Put the fried rice with potato chips on the plate and take the chopsticks. Sakakibara Raku brought them back to Amami Nanamajetsu. Alas, in this cold weather and at night, I still have to go out to cook rice for my little wife, and I have to be sneaky so that no one can find me. It's really a lot of suffering. Okay, it's ready for you, eat it quickly. Complaints are complaints. Sakakibara Raku felt quite happy when he saw Nanami sitting cross-legged on the bed and eating the meal he cooked for her. Seeing Nanami sitting at the desk eating fried rice, Raku Sakakibara vaguely saw her as a child. At that time, Xiaoqiu was just a blank piece of paper. Whatever you want her to do, she will do whatever you want her to do. How can it be as bad as it is now? Speaking of which, when I was a child, did I bathe you? Do you remember? Tianhai Minjiao watched him pull up a stool and slowly sit next to her. I can only say that I have a little impression. Tianhai Minjiao continued to eat potato chips and fried rice. In the bedroom, she is far less cold and arrogant than outside, and her shark pajamas and twin ponytails also make people feel closer to her. Sakaki Hararaku, why don't you speak? Tian Hikaiminyu said calmly, I was thinking that you were quite serious at that time and did not touch randomly. Sakakibara couldn't help it anymore. Who do you think I am? You were only 5 years old at that time. Have you seen it all? It's inevitable that you'll see the light when you take a shower. What's the big deal? When Ailing was in elementary school, she would often run out naked and call me. Seeing the light means seeing the light. You want me to be responsible? Sakakihara approached her face. Tian Hikaiminyu pushed away his face that was deformed by being squeezed, with a disgusted look in her eyes that said, can you please stop being so close? I said I would let you take the responsibility. Tisk, smack your lips. Xiaoqiu is really more passionate than anyone else when kissing. Once separated, they become more indifferent than anyone else. However, when I thought that she only kissed him, I couldn't help but feel happy. Tianhai Minjiao also paid attention to him while eating, and saw that he kept staring at her, as if he was thinking about something. What are you looking at? I'm admiring how beautiful my wife is. Sakakihara put his face on one hand. Tian Hikaiminyu was even more disgusted, her eyes were dull. Who are you talking about, your wife? Oh, why do you look so reluctant? Okay, since you don't want to, then of course the wife I'm talking about is you. Juchi Minjiao Sakakibara's expression gradually changed from helpless to a smile, because his foot was stepped on under the desk, and even what he just said was a lot of frustration. Dare you laugh? It's my honor to be trampled by a beautiful girl. Tian Hikaiminyu raised her face with a probing look of really, and then stepped on his foot harder with an expressionless expression. Sakakihara tried his best to keep smiling, and the words popped out from between his teeth, it's an honor. Can you still eat 5 bowls of rice while I'm taking a shower? Looking at your shadow in the shower, I can even hum 10 bowls. Nanami relaxed her legs, and Sakakibara Raku was able to breathe. He is not the kind of pervert who feels comfortable even if his feet are stepped on. But he finally understands that Xiaoqiu still has a strong desire to control. I like to look down at others. This is not surprising, after all, she is the flower of the high mountains. I usually don't look at people seriously at school. It's true, It's so lonely to be alone in the literature club, yet you're still so arrogant. It's strange that you have friends. The most enjoyable thing now is to quietly watch Xiaoqiu eating. She has a pretty face, a straight nose, bright sky blue eyes with long eyelashes, and plump, moist cherry-colored lips. The above exquisite beauty is matched with the shark pajamas she is wearing and the two twin ponytails on the back of her head. Only the word cute can be seen. She had a face as calm as the surface of a lake, but when she spoke, she always revealed her inner true feelings intentionally or unintentionally. Chi Minjiao, so cute. What? The moment Amami Nanamayuki looked over, her exquisite appearance made Sakakibara feel the urge to kiss her again. Sakaki Hararaku had no intention of controlling this impulse. When Amami Nanami was stunned for a moment, he kissed her. The girl was surprised by his sudden arrival, but she did not refuse. Instead, he took the initiative to close his eyes and cooperate with him. After they separated, in addition to the smell of potato chips and fried rice on Raku Sakakibara's lips, there was also the scent of the girl herself. Her softness seemed to still linger between her lips and teeth. "Didn't you kiss me enough just now?" Tianhai Kaimingyu asked. "This is different, you kissed me then, and now I kiss you. Then do you still want to kiss me for a while? Being respectful is worse than obeying orders. This is the first time we kissed today, Sakaki Hararaku can't remember. But, it smells good, really smells good." Sakaki Hara couldn't help but squeeze her shoulders, just as the two closed their eyes. Boom boom. Knocking. There was a questioning voice immediately outside the door. "Chi Minjiao, are you still asleep? Have you seen your brother? He doesn't seem to be in his bedroom." Sakaki Hara was startled. "It's Sister Tianhai," Chi Minjiao said with hot breath from her mouth. "I." "Stop talking and continue." Tianhai Kaimingyu interrupted him with her lips. "About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple." Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 218. Are you hungry? Do you want me to make you something to eat? The first time Tianhai Yuli felt tangible warmth from him was when it was almost midnight that night when he had to make supper for himself. It's a small thing. It's really just a small thing. But seeing him willing to help her in the kitchen just because of her words, bringing the steaming food with a smile and saying a series of words of care and encouragement to her, the strange throbbing in her heart became more and more difficult. Hide. I feel that his face is getting more and more beautiful, I feel that his smile is getting warmer and warmer, I feel that he is getting closer and closer to me. Because he always carries this strange mood in his heart, Tianhai Yuli would often look at the lily of the valley bracelet he gave her in a daze on her wrist. During class, while participating in club sports, and while sleeping at night. This is probably due to the emotion called liking. Tianhai Yuli cherishes this relationship very much and wants to maintain it. She understands that even if they start dating, they should maintain some personal space between each other and not stick to each other all the time. So whenever the two of them can be together, she will cherish this time together. Tianhai Yuli has always thought this way. Because of this, she would look at the ceiling in her room every night and keep asking herself, go? Or not? Sometimes I really want to see him and talk to him, so I go to his door and gently knock on the door. But today, Tianhai Yuli discovered something was wrong. At a little past midnight, she suddenly discovered that there was still light in her sister's room next door. A subtle light shines through the cracks in the door, illuminating the gaps in the floor joints, which is particularly conspicuous in this moonless snowy night. Perhaps out of a girl's intuition, Tianhai Yuli vaguely felt something was wrong. At the same time, after discovering that Sakaki Hararaku was not sleeping in his bedroom, she felt more and more unhappy. My brother is not here, and the lights in my sister's room are on again. What does this mean? She stood in front of her sister's door. Although she couldn't hear anything inside, she still knocked on the door. Chi Minjio, are you still asleep? Have you seen your brother? He doesn't seem to be in his bedroom. After Tianhai Julie Yulai shouted these words, she didn't even know what she was worried about. There's obviously nothing to worry about. There was no movement in the room for a long time. So, Tianhai Julie Yulai knocked on the door again. Chi Minjio, are you asleep? Your light is still on. At the same time, in Tianhai Kaimingyu's bedroom. Stop first. What's wrong? Faced with the almost natural question from Tenkai Nanamayu, Sakakibara reluctantly stretched out his finger, pointed at the door, and deliberately lowered his voice and said, "Kurari. Don't worry about these insignificant foreign objects, let's continue." Sakakihara quickly stopped him. Stop, Chi Minjio, I don't want you and Julie Yulai to fight. Tianhai Kaimingyu tilted her head slightly and said calmly, "It doesn't matter, I'm ready to pull my sister's hair." Tearing your hair? Stop joking, you are twins. How close were you before? Moreover, can you beat Chi Minjio than Julie Yulai? Do you expect me to help you? That won't work. When the time comes, I really won't be able to help from both ends. I know, and my sister knows too. This is a well-known choice between the two of us. A fight may be the best choice now. Can you beat her? You will help me. Amamai Nanamajetsu spoke without any emotion in her tone, which for a moment made Sakakibara Raku even think that her heart was cold. In fact, in Sakakibara's opinion, the relationship between the two sisters should not be so plastic. Dong dong knocking on the door. 7 bright moons. Sakakihara Raku said helplessly to the delicate and beautiful Amamai Nanamajetsu in front of him, "Look, Julie Yulai is shouting again." "How about I respond to her now?" Tianhai Kaimingyu asked. "What are the consequences of responding? The worst case scenario is a fight. Why do you keep thinking about fighting?" Sakakibara continued to comfort him, "Then you two beat my uncle and my mother so much that they got up and asked questions." You see, Julie Yulai's shouting and knocking on the door were both very quiet. Why? It's not because you don't want to alarm other people. So what? Okay, Chi Minjio, let me ask one more question. Are you really willing to let the relationship between Julie Yulai and you get to that point? Brother, what are you talking about? Do we have a good relationship now? It's not good, I admit that, Sakakibara said, but think about it, if you didn't come to dinner tonight, did she call you? Yes. Sakakibara sighed, I personally watched her serve you food, and then personally called you to eat. Tianhai Kaimingyu thought of the scene of Julie Yulai and fell silent. After a few seconds, she said, what do you want to explain by saying this? Chi Minjio Tianhai Julie Yulai shouted outside the door again. Actually, aren't you sisters just fighting over who wins and who loses? There is absolutely no need to fight to the death. Tianhai Kaimingyu is rational no matter what, but at this time, for some reason, she seems a little extreme. Tianhai Kaimingyu only thought about it for 2 seconds, and instantly understood his intention, with a hint of ridicule on her lips. You want to appease me and give you some time to take care of my sister, right? Wait until you find the right one. The opportunity for both of us to accept each other and achieve the terms you both want. That's right. Do you know what spring and autumn dream is? I know. But didn't Qin Shi Huang just dream of the spring and autumn period? So there is still a chance, even though he was from the Warring States period. First of all, Tianhai Kaimingyu couldn't bear it, I must correct you. The spring and autumn dream refers to the unrealistic dreams of those kings who went to war but only wanted to be kings and hegemons. Qin Shi Huang established the goal of unification from the beginning. These two are fundamentally different. How can they be confused? Sakakihara accepted it humbly, Okay, it was my choice of words. But even if you don't give me a chance, Chi Minjio, are you not suitable to fight with Julie Yulai now? My aunt and uncle found out what happened between us. This home is gone. Tian Hai Kaimingyu raised her eyes, what do you want me to do? Today, help me hide for now. I would rather see you enter a situation where you have to choose. I want to see who you choose. See if what you said to me is true. Chi Minjio, today I came to coax you behind Julie Yulai's back. Don't you know why I have to take care of you like this? It's just lustful. No, you and Julie Yulai are twins. If I want to kiss her, it's not impossible. It's just because I considered your mood that I did it. When Tian Hai Kaimingyu heard this, she seemed to feel a lot more comfortable. I am happy to hear this. Then what else do you want to hear? I'll tell you everything. Say you like me. Well, Sakakibara Raku, likes Tenkai Nanamajetsu. That's pretty fast, Tian Hai Chi Minjia praised, but I still remember when we took wedding photos, you said you would never say you like me even to death. The little ancestor really holds a grudge. I was wrong. What a mistake. What a mistake. Okay, last question. And the last one. Tian Hai Kaimingyu stared at him, is it more comfortable to kiss with me or with sister? Dot. Explain. Isn't this, sending a proposition? Everything is comfortable. I don't want to lie. After Tian Hai Kaimingyu stared at him for a while, she did not choose to embarrass him, just tell the truth. I hope what you told me before is completely true. Okay, now, you can hide under the bed. Hiding under the bed. It's like being caught for rape. Raku Sakakibara, I can go out through the window. Sakakibara Raku, I must remind you that this is the 16th floor. There is no passage from my room to the living room balcony, Amamai Nanamayu said immediately. It's fine. No, I won't allow it. Chi Minjio, are you worried about me? Tian Hai Kaimingyu didn't want to answer his words at all, and walked directly towards the door, almost reaching the door handle in a few steps. Auntie! You should give me some time. Raku Sakakihara quickly put Nanamayu's uneaten potato chips and fried rice in her drawer, and put the chopsticks in it as well. Then, he grabbed the citrus-scented air freshener and sprayed it on her desk and room, and finally crawled under the bed. The whole process took less than 10 seconds. Just at this time, Tian Hai Kaimingyu also pressed the door handle. 7 bright moons. Tian Hai Julie Yulai stood at the door and saw his sister opening the door. At the same time, a note hanging on the door fell. What's the matter with sister? Tian Hai Julie Yulai tried to see something on her face. Aren't you asleep yet? No, I woke up in the middle of the night and I was still thinking about my sister Chan's birthday tomorrow and how I would give that gift away. Since Chi Minjio is thinking about your sister's birthday, you should go to bed early. Are you hungry because you haven't eaten? There are some, too, Tian Hai Kaimingyu replied, and found that Tian Hai Julie Yulai wanted to look into her room. Sister, if you have any questions, just ask them directly. Okay, Amamai Kuruori didn't see the shadow of Sakakibara Raku in her room, and subconsciously breathed a sigh of relief. Can you let me come in and sit down? Why did sister come in? Standing here chatting will easily disturb dad and aunt, and Suzuchan may also wake up. Tian Hai Kaimingyu had no objection to her sister's reason, so she stepped aside and allowed Tian Hai Julie Yulai to enter her room. The first time Tian Hai Julie Yulai entered the room, he looked around at the furnishings in the room. What are you looking for, sister? It's nothing, I just haven't been in your place for a long time, so I'm a little curious. It's still so neat and tidy, there's nothing to hide in. When Tian Hai Julie Yulai was about to walk to the closet, Tian Hai Kaimingyu stood in front of her and said, Don't you, sister, have a question to ask me? Well, yes. Tian Hai Julie Yulai's response was a little perfunctory and a little distracted. Elder sister. Tianhaijuli Yulai noticed the detailed movements she made in front of him, and realized that he had to continue the topic. Yes, I mainly want to ask you why you are so angry that you don't want to eat tonight. It's common to be angry. It's very common, but Chi Minjiu, you rarely get angry, and you would never do such childish behavior as locking yourself up. Sister, do you think I'm naive? Tianhaijuli Yulai knew Chi Minjiu very, very well, and knew that she was deliberately changing the topic. She was trying to hide something. I'm not saying you are naive, but Chi Minjiu doesn't seem like someone who would do such a thing, right? Tianhaikaimingu handled the situation with ease. Compared with these, it is really surprising that my sister dared to say no to my mother. I heard that my mother was very angry because of my sister's affairs, and she has not accepted advertisements for a long time. Chi Minjiu Tianhaijuli Yulai called her. Well, it seems that we still have to talk about why I am angry. The reason is very simple. My sister took advantage of my absence to make love to someone. Why do you want to say that while you are not here? Tianhaijuli Yulai was puzzled. Even so, our relationship is legitimate. I won't admit that the things he promised me before have not yet been fulfilled. Can he forget those things easily? It's easy to forget things from Chi Minjiu's childhood. Many people can't remember exactly what they were doing last week. Sister is such a good girlfriend. She started talking to someone after only a few days of dating. This is a fact. Then my sister should also know what someone meant to me when I was a child. Without those things, there is a high probability that I would only be like my sister. Doesn't my sister even admit that I came first? But that was just when I was a kid, and he didn't say anything like he would definitely marry you in the future, right? Does your sister know? Staring at Tianhaikaimingu, this twin sister who had the same appearance as herself, Tianhaijuli Yulai took a long time to regain her composure, and she sighed. Chi Minjiu, you are so awesome, but you unknowingly changed the subject again. My sister is also amazing. Others are often aroused by me at this time, and they don't realize this problem at all. Tianhaijuli Yulai, Chi Minjiu, I don't want to talk to you now. Can you please step aside and let me look inside the closet? What are you doing looking at the wardrobe? I wanted to see if there was anyone inside. Tianhaikaimingu folded her arms across her chest. This was her interest. Sister, by saying that, does it mean you don't trust someone? I don't. No, if not, why does sister have to look in the closet? I just want to take a look. But, Tianhaikaimingu's calm voice was as cold and sharp as ever. If sister sees it, does it mean she doesn't trust someone? The most important thing in love is trust. You don't even have trust, and you still talk about it. What kind of love? Understand this, even if it is like this, is my sister still willing to see it? Tianhaijuli Yulai didn't have any stage fright under her sister's seemingly provocative words. This is not distrust, but I think he has a reason to come back to you today. You are not very happy today, and you haven't eaten yet. I think as an elder brother, someone with his personality will still care about you. Isn't that the sign no visitors you posted on the door just now that you posted for him? Tianhaikaimingu knew that her sister was difficult to deal with. If we continue arguing like this, the topics will only be endless. Okay, let's see. Tianhaikaimingu took the initiative to give up her position, and Tianhaijuli Yulai also opened the wardrobe. Obviously, there was no one inside. Sister, I know that women in love tend to be suspicious, and this is normal behavior. But you shouldn't doubt the person you like the most. Chi Minjiu, you are wrong. I said, as long as you explain it well, it's not that I can't understand and I don't doubt him. I'm just worried that he will care about you at night, but he is afraid that I will misunderstand, so he hides. This matter is it's like he didn't tell me that he returned to the literature club, which is completely explainable. Tianhai Julie Yuli's words seemed to be addressed to his sister. But Tianhai Chi Minjiao knew exactly who she was speaking to. After Tianhai Julie Yuli closed the wardrobe, he continued, "Actually, from my perspective, Chi Minjiao, you are the one who needs care now. As a sister, I can understand how you feel. If you are not cared about, even your brother will be able to care about you again. Joining the literature club happened out of pity for you, Chi Minjiao. Sister, are you embarrassed to say this?" Tianhai Julie Yuli ignored her sister's interruption. In this state of mind, when you see the person you like spending time with other girls while you are away, it is inevitable to get angry. Similarly, you don't want to take care of your anger until you eat. It's inevitable for my sister to eat, so it's normal to come and see her at night. Sister, so cruel. It seems that he is talking about himself, but in fact he is also talking about someone hiding in the corner. Coupled with my sister's gentle and ordinary tone. Totally sound reasoning. As long as someone's heart is a little softer, wouldn't an explanation immediately come out? Tianhai Chi Minjiao herself didn't care. What she was worried about was that someone under the bed couldn't stand it. No matter how reasonable the explanation is, as long as he shows up, there will be a crisis of trust between him and his sister in the future. Although Tianhai Kaimingyu is completely happy with this. Tianhai Julie Yuli behaved very normally in front of Chi Minjiao, but inside she was actually anxious to death. She kept thinking, why didn't she come out and explain to me? Why are you avoiding me? As long as he comes out and explains it properly, he will still believe him. Chi Minjiao tried to hide something in her tone, the slightly messy sheets, and the two chairs in front of the desk. These are all evidences that he existed here. But it makes perfect sense for him to come to Chi Minjiao in the middle of the night. As long as he explains it, it makes perfect sense. Could it be that he actually had some other relationship with Chi Minjiao in private? Do you dare not come out to see yourself because of guilt? Tianhai Julie Yuli looked behind the curtains on the sofa again, and finally, she locked on the only place left in the bedroom, under the bed. Slowly approaching the bed and moving her gaze, she saw the space under the sheets and the suitcases stacked there. The suitcase is crooked, but according to Chi Minjiao's tidy personality, it can't be crooked. Everything points to one piece of evidence. There is only one possibility, there is someone under the bed. Elder sister. Chi Minjiao, don't move. Elder sister. I told you not to move. This time, Tianhai Julie Yuli reached out to stop her. Although her tone was still normal and gentle, her heart had begun to accelerate violently. In her mind, there were already thousands of self-justifying explanations for why he didn't come out and instead wanted to hide from her. It must be impossible, right? It can't be here, right? I can only help you here. When Tianhai Kaimingyu saw her sister reaching out to stop her and wanting to see her no matter what, she could only wish that certain guy good luck. Tianhai Julie Yuli squatted down, turned on the flashlight function of his phone, and looked under the bed. Tianhai Kaimingyu had turned her face away from behind and held her forehead. There was no sound for a while. Tianhai Kaimingyu even thought it was her sister who was stunned. But that's fine too. Let's all have a complete showdown. What are you doing? Why aren't you sleeping yet? At the same time, an inappropriate voice came from another direction. Hearing this familiar voice, Amami Nanamajetsu looked over to the source of the sound and found Raku Sakakibara standing at the door of the bedroom. He yawned and looked at the two people in the room sleepily. When did this guy run out? Tianhai Kaimingyu closed her eyes slightly, expressing her doubts. Brother, Tianhai Julie Yuli, who was squatting beside the bed, stood up immediately. Well, what's wrong? My stomach just wasn't feeling well. So you're going to the toilet? Sakaki Hararaku didn't answer, but walked in with a strange and normal expression. He looked at the two people in the room. I won't say it for now, but why aren't you sleeping? What are you doing here? Tianhai Julie Yulai breathed a sigh of relief instantly. Tianhai Kaimingyu still had the same calm expression. However, the way she looked at Sakakibara Raku was a little intriguing. What's wrong? Tianhai Julie Yulai showed a sweet smile. It's nothing. Tianhai Kaimingyu cursed in her heart, you are such a fast guy. The misunderstanding seemed to be resolved like this. But it doesn't seem to be completely lifted. After explaining perfectly to the two of them, after Sakakibara lay down on the bed, Amamai Nanamajetsu sent him another line. Pity. What's a pity? You actually climbed back out of the window without being noticed by your sister. When you blocked the doorway for Julie Yulai, I knew she was going to come in, so why not hurry up and run away? You won't be allowed to do this next time, but do you think your sister will start to be wary of you next? What's the meaning? My sister is very lacking in love. If you pay too much attention to me, she will also be suspicious. Although my sister definitely believes in you unconditionally, I can't say for sure what clues she discovered without you being present. I'm really looking forward to how you will convince her next. Now, let's go to sleep. Tomorrow is my sister Chan. It's your birthday, remember, we are going to Tianhai's house, and you will definitely see Grandpa then. What kind of person is the old man? This, I'm sleepy. It's too much to say. Let's talk about it tomorrow. You still know how to be sleepy. Also, you actually stuffed my fried rice into the drawer. Absolutely edible. My drawer now smells like fried rice. Okay, I won't tell you anymore, I'm going to bed. Good night. Sakakibara put down his phone, lay on the bed and breathed a sigh of relief. The atmosphere today is like a spy movie. But how can the two sisters accept each other in a friendly manner? Sakakibara Raku felt that the matter between himself and Nanamijiya was going to get heated up, and sooner or later it would explode. How about exposing the matter between yourself and Chiminjiya? Then let them fight, whoever wins will get it. It doesn't make sense when you think about it. There has to be a way to bring them both together, and they can only do one thing together. Then the relationship will be better. As for what happened, Sakakibara Raku has not grasped the most essential points. I can't think of anything even if I think about it carefully. Never mind. Sleep. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 219. The last day of November is Aling's birthday. This day is also Saturday. In Sakakibara Raku's memory, the day Suzu was born, her whole body was wrinkled and her skin was slightly white. The head is like an octopus, but the cry is very loud. Under the gaze of his mother's slightly weak smile on the hospital bed, the first time Sakakibara saw her, the idea of ugliness came to his mind. Although this word really shouldn't be used on my sister, the facts I saw with my own eyes will inevitably lead to this idea in my heart. Just be ugly, at least you have a sister. With this idea in mind, I watched my sister grow up day by day. Feeding, crying, babbling. Learn to crawl, learn to call brother, and start toddling. I eat more food, learn to run, and start jumping up and down. After that, it's time to start school. I vaguely remember that on the first day of kindergarten, this ugly girl hugged her mother's legs and refused to let go, shouting that she didn't want to go to school and had to go home. Really stupid. Everything is vivid in my mind, as if the little girl crying for her brother was still holding her clothes behind her. There were so many memories about Suzu that Raku Sakakibara didn't know which things to recall specifically. However, he vaguely remembered that his sister, who used to be dependent on him and completely trusting him, gradually turned into an arrogant character when she was approaching middle school. Dislike my brother and learn to dress yourself up. As for the reason, It can only be explained by the rebellious period. Aling is still a different person from the average rebellious person. She still has herself in her heart, and she still occupies a very big position in her heart. It can only be said that Aling has changed from the little girl who only called her brother to act coquettishly and asked for attention, to a younger sister who can quarrel with her. Dash. Thinking about all the messy things in his mind about Suzu, Sakakibara enjoyed his morning jog on the seaside avenue of Tokyo Bay in Minato City. Fine goose-down snow fell from the sky, and the cold sea breeze blowing from the Pacific blew across my burning cheeks. My running feet moved forward repeatedly like a machine, and I had lost consciousness for a long time. His steps were brisk, and his thighs drove his strong calf muscles. Every time he took a step with the heels of his rubber running shoes, the impact from the ground seemed to be gently resolved by his muscles, leaving only the beauty of running. After crossing the tram viaduct, as expected, I met several long-distance runners from Tokyo Sports University at a similar time. They were running from the other side of the intersection, their steps were fast and steady, and they looked like they had been trained for a long time. They also saw Raku Sakakibara coming for a morning jog. The leading captain greeted him with a smile, and other teammates waved to him. Sakakihara Raku sped up and followed, reaching the side of Captain Ryokan Maeda. "Why didn't you see your girlfriend running with you today?" he asked with a smile. Under his sleek hairstyle, his forehead was covered with sweat drops. "She slept a little late yesterday, and she wasn't awake yet when I went out." "Then we don't have to envy you today." A member of the team behind, who was impatient and wanted to talk, stuck his head out and joked with a smile. Everyone laughed while running. Sakakihara Raku also smiled. "What's your morning running goal today?" 15 kilometers, the captain replied. It's a bit more than before. Sakakibara Raku knew that this 15 kilometers was not the other 15 kilometers. This was a guy from the East Sports University, and the average pace was terrifying. "Can you persist?" Sakakihara looked ahead, walked steadily, and accelerated his forward running speed. All the athletes from the Eastern Sports University, including Captain Ryokan Maeda, could only see his back gradually moving away. All were left behind. "Captain," a team member shouted from behind, sweat glistening on their bodies. I know." After reluctantly agreeing twice, the leader also quickened his pace and soon caught up with Sakakibara Raku's speed. Everyone stopped talking, their flexible legs cut through the wind in front of them at the same frequency, and they ran silently on the streets of Tokyo in winter. Ever since he moved, Sakakibara Raku has been jogging around here for a long time, and most of the time he takes Kuruori with him. As we went back and forth, we met this group of people from Tokyo Sports University. They seem to live nearby and aim to break the Hakone Ikiden record. They practice running around here every morning if they have nothing to do. The 15-kilometer run took just over 45 minutes, which is an excellent level. Perhaps it is not clear to say so. But judging by the standards of international athletes, 15 kilometers takes about 50 minutes. The group from Eastern Sports University took about 45 minutes. In other words, after running 15 kilometers, they took an average of 3 minutes per kilometer. Today they only ran 15 kilometers for 51 minutes. Sakakibara knew that they were taking care of themselves. Sakakihara Raku ran to the back and was exhausted, so tired that he was out of breath. "Sorry, I was delayed." "Haha, you are so arrogant. You are running too fast. For long-distance running, this is tantamount to seeking death," another teammate said loudly with a smile. Of course, after running 15 kilometers, he was exhausted and sweating. "It's okay," Captain Ryokan Maeda said with a wave of his hand. He came to Sakakibara Raku, smiled and patted his shoulder. "Sakakibara-san, are you interested in coming to our Eastern Sports University in the future? Is this an active invitation?" "Yes. It would be a pity to waste such a great talent like yours." By the way, what grade are you in now? First year of high school. Everyone was surprised after hearing this. Sakakibara stood up straight again with his knees up, but I'm 2 years older than the average student. In fact, I should be in my third year of high school. Everyone nodded after hearing this. It's okay, not outrageous. How can anyone almost reach the level of an international athlete in the first year of high school? The group stopped at a vending machine to replenish water. After a brief chat, Sakakibara was ready to leave. He said to the crowd at East Sports University, "Everyone, come on Hakone." Everyone laughed at the same time and gave him a thumbs up. "Sakakibara, remember to bring your girlfriend over for a run next time. Everyone is more motivated when a girl runs with her." "Haha, definitely next time." After saying goodbye and walking away, Sakakibara slowly walked home along the road and entered the elevator. He stood still in front of the control panel and watched the number above jump to 16. Enter the entrance hall, put on slippers and enter the living room. As soon as he came in, he saw his three sisters already getting up. Sakakihara Suzu sat on the sofa in the middle, with some boxes and books piled in front of her. This is obviously Aling's birthday present. Tianhaichi Minjiu gave her a handwritten study outline, plus some books that she thought were very good, and 1 or 2 figures. Tianhaijuli Yulai gave her a winter coat, plus sneakers, gloves, and a scarf. Sakakihara Suzu is trying on this outfit now. It can be seen that Julie Yulai is very attentive and knows that Aling usually likes cool jackets, so she bought this style specially. Aling is very happy to wear this outfit. "Isn't this pretty?" Sakakihara said with a smile. Following the sound, Suzu Sakakihara quickly found her brother who was running home. She happily came to him and showed an innocent smile. "Brother, what do you want to give me?" Raku Sakakibara saw her coquettishness. A younger sister is a younger sister. When asking for a gift, every brother she called was soft and sweet. "Didn't I give you a rabbit doll 2 days ago? How dare you mention that?" Suzu Sakakihara wanted to be angry at first, but she quickly recovered her attitude and continued to smile. "I know you still have it." Sakakibara became angry when he saw her cute little face, and stretched out his hand to pull it. "If you want a gift, you know how to ask for a gift. Don't you know how many your fans have given you? Can they be the same as you? They are completely different, okay? Just wait." "Okay." Sakakihara Suzu agreed immediately. Sakakihara returned to his bedroom and quickly took out a small gift box. Tianhaijuli Yulai asked, "What do you plan to give me as a gift?" Tianhaichi Minjiu, who wore glasses and read a book even in the early morning, quickly added on another sofa, "It's probably some kind of handicraft." Sakakihara Raku looked embarrassed when he heard this. Sakakihara Suzu noticed it and blinked at him. "Is Nanamijiu right?" "Ahem, yes, not entirely right." Raku Sakakihara straightened his back and said, "Open it and take a look." After all, it was a gift from my brother." Sakakibara Suzu held the heavy gift box in her hands and looked at the ribbon tied above, feeling inexplicably turbulent. For her, it is a pleasure to receive gifts from everyone. But what I care about most is actually the things my brother gave me. Like the doll rabbit with the animated prototype that he gave to her a few days ago, Sakakihara Suzu felt happy and thought about it for a long time. Many pictures appeared in my mind. The thing that impressed me most during the recent period was the back view of him when he went out to buy the ingredients he wanted to eat without saying a word after being gossiped about by his colleagues. Really, I call myself a fool every day, but I obviously care about myself very much. When Sakakihara Suzu thought of this and hugged the gift he gave her, she wanted to pout. "Why haven't you opened it yet?" "I suddenly don't want to open it." Sakakihara Suzu looked at him and said. Sakakibara guessed what she was thinking, turned his head to the side and said, "Don't say you want to use my things as the final gift." Open at last. What I gave is not a precious object. Sakakihara Suzu waved her hands in disgust. I'm not very short of money, and I don't care about those precious objects. The mother, who was wearing a French trench coat, poked her head out from the corridor of the bedroom and said to everyone, "Everyone, hurry up and get ready to change clothes. The car from Tianhai's family to pick us up will be here on time at 9 o'clock." After getting everyone's replies, my mother withdrew again after speaking. Holding the gift, Suzu Sakakihara asked her brother, "Have you noticed that mom is becoming more and more temperamental? Don't you know that's what married women are like? Will it change if I get married? Why did you suddenly talk about getting married? I, I want to say, brother, do you like the kind of gentle girl who can take care of you? Well, as long as we like each other enough and care about each other, it's okay. It doesn't have to be caring, and it doesn't have to be gentle, it just doesn't have to be annoying." Some weak sisters ask cute questions that make Raku Sakakihara want to touch her head. He did touch her, but Ailing didn't refuse like before. "Okay, go and change your clothes quickly." "I'm going to change my clothes too. I'm going to Tianhai's house. This time I want to be more formal. After all, it's a banquet centered on you." At 9 o'clock, everyone, including Uncle Tianhai, changed into a formal outfit. During this time, there has been fluffy snow in the sky, so the clothes should be thicker than usual. There are a total of 6 people in the family, so the car that picks us up is also the kind of extended car that looks like it is used by rich people. As the eldest son of the Tianhai family, Tianhai Madayan had a complicated expression when he saw the old housekeeper coming out of the car. The old butler has white hair, white gloves, and a straight body. It seems that he has a posture that has been practiced for decades. The old housekeeper stood by the car door, bent down, and said hello. "Master." The old man actually called Uncle Ying to come. The old housekeeper glanced at Sakakibara Raku and Sakakibara Suzu behind Amamai Shijinorai, and said politely, "After all, this is the first time I have come to pick up the young master and young lady." The old housekeeper then said hello to the two of them and introduced himself. Sakakibara nodded in response. Suzu was stupid. After staying for a while, she realized that she also wanted to respond. She still used honorifics, which made the old housekeeper smile. Next is the reminiscence between the uncle and the old housekeeper. The uncle calls the old housekeeper Uncle Ying. Sakura's full name is Sakura Guizhong. He is the same age as the old man. I heard that he grew up with the old man and is deeply trusted. According to what Raku Sakakibara learned from the TV series, Uncle Ying should be regarded as the general housekeeper in the Tianhai family, right? He knows everything about the family affairs, big and small. Yes, after all, the old man's main line has 10 children, not to mention other branches. There are too many people in a family and the families are not completely separated. Even in daily life, there are too many things to deal with. Sakakibara Suzu stood behind a few people, watching her uncle communicate with Sakura, but she became a little scared, and sneaked towards Sakakibara Suzu. "Are we going to the big mansion later? It's a big villa with a garden and a swimming pool. Isn't it dangerous inside?" "What's dangerous? It's just like in TV series, with all kinds of intrigues and intrigues. You just watched too many taiga dramas." Raku Sakakibara clenched his fist and hit her on the head. Sakakihara Suzu held her head in dissatisfaction. "If you don't believe me, ask Chi Minjio and Juliuli if they have any intrigues over the family property." By chance, these words were heard by the two sisters in front. They went out today dressed very smartly. They were all wearing the same snow-white woolen short coat, and their long flaxen hair stretched past their shoulders. From the back, there were often small snowflakes falling on top. When they moved slightly, they were like silver powder. The hair is decorated with glittering and shiny colors. Tianhai Julie Yulai, intrigue? No, everyone is very kind. Tianhai Kaimingyu disagreed, it's just that my sister simply doesn't know. Although it has nothing to do with our generation. Sakakibara Suzu pinched the flesh on Sakakibara Raku's waist, look. I just said yes. Where do you girls always like to pinch? Chi Minjio said, it has nothing to do with us. Julie Yulai also said that everyone is very kind. After his uncle and Uncle Ying finished chatting and renewing old friendships, his uncle sighed for some reason. Then, Uncle Ying smiled and invited everyone to get in the car first. The interior space of the car is quite luxurious, because it is an extended version of the car, and there is a bar and so on. Sakakihara Suzu had never seen such a spacious interior space in a car, and was even more curious about some of the delicate-looking buttons in the car. When you click on some places, a bottle of fruit drink and several transparent wine glasses come out. Sakakihara Suzu felt strange and took out the expensive-looking fruit drink. Logically speaking, shouldn't it be red wine or champagne? Why is it juice? Amamai Shigenori smiled and replied, this is specially prepared by Sakura. The car door was not closed yet. The old butler Sakura specially introduced the functions of the car to Sakakibara Suzu, as well as the place where cakes and snacks were stored. You could take them to eat if needed. Aling could only nod her head. Then, I'll go drive first. Well, Uncle Ying, you are busy with your business. The old housekeeper closed the car door for several people with a smile and went to the cab. Then, the black stretch limousine began to drive slowly on the streets of Shirogane Takanawa in Minato City. Sakakihara Raku also found that many people would look at the car curiously on the street. Probably because he was curious about who was sitting inside. Sakakihara couldn't help but cast his eyes on the two handsome twins sitting opposite. They were sitting together. Tianhai Kaimingyu was closing her eyes to rest. Tianhai Julie Yulai found herself looking towards her and smiled at him. Shiminori Amamai actually noticed the eldest daughter's movements. When Sakakibara ran away from home, he also asked her about her feelings for him. It was ambiguous at the time, but now it seems that I should have made my thoughts clear. He didn't want to interfere with his daughter's feelings. He had lacked care for them since they were young. As a father, he felt ashamed of them. He could no longer force them to give up their feelings and lives for something. If he still interferes forcefully, he will undoubtedly do the same thing as Bertha, the same thing as the old man. This was the last thing he wanted to see. He has been reluctant to obey the old man's words since high school, and it is precisely for this reason. As for Julie Yulai, she likes whatever she likes, and it's all her own choice. Amamai Madayan withdrew his gaze, listened to the steady sound of the limousine's engine, closed his eyes, and rested quietly. The black car silhouette slowly left the port area, passing over the flying snow in the sky and lined with rows of ginkgo trees. Finally, we stopped at a manor in Chiyoda Ward. Uncle Ying got out of the car first and opened the door for everyone. Mom said thank you and got off first. Raku Sakakihara stood on the ground that suddenly felt different. He looked at the iron gate in front of him and the ridiculously large front yard and villa in a daze. This is too big. Aling's exaggerated voice came from behind. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tio Lan. Chapter 220. Open grasslands, straight avenues, rows of sycamore trees, and workers sweeping away fallen leaves and snow. The scenery is spotless and crystal clear under the pure white and early snowfall at the end of November. Coupled with the quiet atmosphere around Chiyoda district, it is really artistic. After getting out of the car and standing in front of the gate to Tiankai's villa, Sakakibara followed Aling's voice and looked into the iron gate. There is no tree inside the door. Or should I say, there are no tall trees, there are just bushes that set off the large lawns. Looking inward along the straight road behind the iron gate, you can see something that can only be seen in Daihi drama. An exaggerated mansion. Sakakibara looked up at the past. Although he didn't know what style of building it belonged to, he could tell from the large area of vacant grass in the front garden that the owner of this manor likes space. I just pay attention to the word style that does not need too many external objects to set off. The iron gate opened. From the moment she officially stepped into the manor, Sakakihara Suzu kept looking around with curious eyes. It is also covered with white snow, and the plain green grass becomes covered with silver. Is this the first time for the young master and the young lady to come here? Old butler Yingbo said with a smile. His smile had the affinity of an old man, which made people feel friendly. Yes, Sakakibara replied. Then young master, don't be too nervous. Just treat this place as your own home. You can visit it at will. This is the front garden. There are gardens and ponds in the back garden. There is also an open-air rest area. There is a pavilion over there. If you are usually bored, you can enjoy the flowers and drink tea there. Of course, because the weather has been too cold recently, no one will come out and sit here now. Does anyone live in the manor permanently? The master often lives here, and Mrs. Higsu is also here. Most of the other ladies are working or studying abroad, but there is a young lady who is still in graduate school who often comes back to live here. Amami Shigenori looked at the mansion from the right front of Sakakibara Raku, and said with a bit of boredom, I don't like this place, it's too big. Sakakibara couldn't understand the reason why his uncle didn't like it, so Sakura took the initiative to help him explain to Sakakibara. The young master feels that this place is too big, and there are only a few people here. It's impersonal and too deserted. Of course, Uncle Ying was also taking care of his young master's face and spoke in a lower voice. This sounds interesting to Sakakibara music. I think Uncle Ying is also a very interesting person. But Uncle Tianhai is not a deaf person. Hearing Uncle Ying's words, he sighed. The old man always knows how to mind his own business. This was heard by Tianhai Juli Yulai and Tianhai Kaimingyu, although they didn't say anything. But to Sakakihara Raku, this is not what the sisters are saying. I am only busy with work every day and do not take care of my family. Uncle Ying obviously knew about this matter and turned into a comforting tone. Young master is married now, can you understand me more or less? I actually feel guilty for you. I know, Uncle Tianhai said without emotion, but that doesn't mean I can forgive him. He still wants to restrain him to this day. This is something that has never changed. During the time he entered the mansion, Sakakihara Raku kept listening to the conversation between Sakura and Uncle Amami. To sum up, it is actually Uncle Tianhai and the old man are the same type of people. The old man lacked care for him as a family member since he was a child, which caused Uncle Tianhai to dislike this family very much. However, after Uncle Tianhai grew up and left this family, he stumbled back to his father's old ways. They are all the same, and Uncle Tianhai has become the kind of person he hates. If there is a difference, it is that the old man has not given up yet, while Uncle Tianhai has done his best to prevent others from interfering in the lives of his two daughters. This was a matter for the elders, and Sakakibara Raku had no right to intervene. Tenkai Nanamayu and Tenkai Kuruori didn't have any objections, so they naturally kept quiet and walked into the mansion through the snow. Uncle Ying led several people into an empty rectangular room with a modern Japanese style. A calligraphy copybook with the word heart hangs at the top, and several sabers are neatly placed under the calligraphy copybook. Uncle Ying had to prepare breakfast for everyone, so he took his leave for the time being and asked everyone to wait here for a while. The old man would be here soon. Knife. Sakakihara Suzu saw what was under the copybook at a glance. That's Grandpa's collection. Tianhai Juli Yulai also took a look and explained, Grandpa likes these ancient knives very much. He collected them all if he could. Because he liked them very much, he put them in the dining area. See it anytime. Sakakihara Suzu really wanted to take a look, but she didn't know if she could touch it. Just feel free to do it. Amamai Maid Nori saw her thoughts. According to the old man's intention, he is only happy when someone appreciates his collection. My sisters played too much and were no longer interested in his knives. Instead, he was a little depressed. Sakakihara Suzu nodded repeatedly, ran over and picked it up carefully. She took the one closest to her, grasped the handle and pulled it out, revealing its cold light. Sakakibara asked Encyclopedia, who was standing next to him, "What kind of knife is Suzu holding?" Seshuka Wanajwoman Captain Fujiwara Muramasa Amamai Nanamajetsu answered. "The demon sword Muramasa." "That's it? But don't get me wrong, Muramasa is the name of a swordsmith, and the sword he forged is called Muramasa, so there is more than one. The same goes for other famous swords. What about the other knives? Are they all famous knives?" Tenkai Nanamajetsu said in turn, "Mikazuki Munchika, Daji Kiri Yasutsuna, Nagaso Yakutetsu, Izumi Mamoru Kanesata, Taro Tachi, Muramasa. Grandpa has collected 7 swords in total. 2 national treasure level swords. So powerful. There's no man who doesn't love knives." Sakakihara Raku couldn't help but be curious, and he got closer and took out a daji to look at. This knife is quite long, the blade length alone is 80 centimeters, and the handle is curved. The total length including the handle is estimated to be about 110 centimeters. The sand flow of the golden tendons on the blade is clearly visible. It has been preserved since ancient times and looks as sharp as ever. Sakakihara Raku saw his own reflection in the sharp blade. Made with a pickaxe, the nunnery has a high waist and an open posture. It has stems, and chestnuts. There are nail holes in one place, and the eyes are cut. The golden tendons and sand flow are densely displayed. This is the boy's kyangan. How about it? Not a good knife. Sakakibara held daji kiri in his hand, and before he could even try to wave it twice, his energetic voice caught his attention. Standing at the door was an old man wearing a gray and black kimono. "Grandfather. The current head of the Tenkai family is named Soichiro Tenkai. He had his hands behind his back and had an elegant temperament on his body. Just looking at him with his eyes gave people an invisible pressure." "Are you Raku?" Sakakibara. "Yes, it's our first meeting." Sakakihara bowed his head and saluted. "You look good." Soichiro Amkai looked at Sakakibara's Suzu again. Unlike the serious expression on Sakakibara Raku, he smiled kindly. "So you are Sakakibara's Suzu?" "Yeah, should I call you Grandpa?" As soon as he asked this question, Amamai Soichiro glanced at Amamai Miwa, who was next to Amamai Shigenori. The other person lowered his head slightly and saluted, which was regarded as saying hello to his elders. After examining it for a while, Soichiro Amkai finally set his sights on his son, Shigenori Amamai. Of course he agreed. The old man was not targeting Sakakihara Suzu. But the matter of his son's marriage had never been discussed with him. Facing the new daughter-in-law who came for the 3rd time and the 2 children of the new daughter-in-law who came for the 1st time, it was strange that he didn't show any displeasure. Perhaps the old man was afraid that what he said to his son would scare Sakakihara Suzu, so he turned back to her and smiled at her and said, "Can I call you Belle?" Yes. Sakakihara Suzu nodded. "There is a birthday tea party specially organized for you this afternoon. The main purpose is to announce to the outside world the fact that Madian remarried and the existence of you and your brother." "Haha, do you understand what this means? Does this mean that we will officially have a relationship with the Tianhai family from now on?" The old man nodded with satisfaction and put his hands into his cuffs. "This also means that when you travel outside, you will be affected by the sea of sky behind you. There are pros and cons to this. However, our family's reputation with the outside world has always been shining, so there is no need to worry about too much." "Thing." Yes. Sakakihara Suzu just nodded. In her opinion, this was a very kind grandfather. After chatting for a while, Uncle Ying and several servants placed the prepared breakfasts one by one in front of everyone sitting at the long table. The rice was served first, followed closely by 7 snacks, each on a different plate. Sakaki Hararaku could only see that the arrangement of the dishes was extremely exquisite, but he could not see any clues. So, Tianhai Juliuli lowered his voice and explained to him, in order from left to right, they are sucking things, clear soup, covering things, shawanmushi, boiling things, stewed vegetables, fish, tofu, etc., 8-inch, seasonal ingredients, yakimono, grilled fish, sushi, pickled side dishes, and oil, fried food. This is Kyo cuisine, which is Kaisuke cuisine. It is not placed in a formal order. Amami Nanamajetsu explained on the other side of Sakaki Bararaku, Grandpa is so proud that I know I can't just cook some side dishes to entertain you, but I also feel that the Kaisuke cuisine is too stingy, so I just serve it all at once, so you can enjoy it. He is quite a casual old man. Because the old man was at the top of the long table, he could still communicate privately by lowering his voice, so Sakakibara asked her again. Does the old man only prefer women? Oh? Did you see it? I feel like the way he looks at me and the way he looks at Ailing are not the same at all. His attitude toward my uncle is also a little weird. Sister Chan is the protagonist today, and since you have a sensitive identity, Grandpa putting pressure on you is what he should do. After chatting for a while, the meal had not yet started. Everyone was sitting around a long table, obviously waiting for someone. So Ichiro Amkai stretched out his hand to Uncle Sakura who was standing at the dining table and ordered, Gui's Hong, go and shout out the snow. Don't always be late for breakfast. Mrs. Higsu should just get up now. Then ask the maid to call her out. Everyone is waiting. Uncle Ying saluted and nodded. He was about to leave the Japanese room, but as soon as he walked out of the door, he froze. Uncle Ying said to Mr. Tianhai who looked up, Mrs. Higsu is here. As soon as he finished speaking, a slender girl appeared in everyone's sight. She had long black hair that fell to her waist. She was wearing blue woolen pajamas. Her oval-shaped face was set off by a pair of delicate eyebrows. The lower part is exquisite and small, very well proportioned. The pair of bare feet on the ground, coupled with the sleepy look, are really beautiful, very much like a portrait of a girl found in novels. It was already snowing in winter, and the way her bare feet stepped on the floor looked like she was stepping on snow, giving people an icy and cool feeling. If you look carefully, you can still find that she is somewhat similar to Chi Minjiao and Julie Yulai. Just by looking at their appearance, one can tell that she and the two sisters Tianhai are related by blood. What are you looking at? As Sakakibara looked at it, the flesh on his waist was twisted. He painfully looked in the direction of the source of the pain. Although Tianhai Kaimingyu's face was expressionless, the light in the depths of her eyes was obviously telling him that she was very dissatisfied with his performance. What are you doing? Sakakibara whispered to Chi Minjiao, deliberately guarding against being discovered by Julie Yulai. Just asking someone to stop his lustful eyes and make him unable to walk when he sees a beautiful girl. I'm just looking at it normally. Sakaki Hararaku was really wronged. The girl looked at the few people who suddenly appeared in the Japanese-style restaurant. Their unfamiliar faces made her tilt her head in confusion, like a lost cat. Who is she? Sakaki Hara covered his aching waist and decided not to ask Chi Minjiao, but ask Julie Yulai. It's little Aunt Tianhai. Julie Yulai smiled and answered in a gentle voice. Is this your uncle's sister who is the same age as you? Well, her name is Tianhai's Higsu. She is about the same age as us, only 1 month apart. Snow in the sky and sea. What a unique name. Who are you? Tianhai's Higsu's voice was very ethereal and small, and her eyes were full of doubts. Amkai Soichiro looked a little embarrassed. He didn't expect that even though he specifically warned this little daughter yesterday, she still forgot about it. Miss. Fortunately, Uncle Ying reacted quickly. He quickly said a few words to the girl, and after getting her nod, he took her away for a while. When she reappeared, the girl had changed out of her pajamas into a plain white winter dress, with slippers on her feet. Just that dull look hasn't changed much. She looked at Uncle Ying. Under the embarrassed smile of the old housekeeper, the girl remembered something. She clasped her hands in front of her, lowered her head to salute, and began to introduce herself to the people she had never seen before on the long table. This is the first time we meet. My name is Tianhai's Higsu. I am the youngest daughter of the family head. I am 16 years old this year. The old man must be at least over 60. This is the first time for Sakakihara Raku and Sakakihara Suzu to see a father and daughter with such a big age difference in real life. Although he was surprised, he did not forget the etiquette. This is an elder, right? Do you need to use honorifics? Sakakihara Raku and Sakakihara Suzu also introduced themselves politely afterwards. One thing Sakakibara Raku noticed was that the Amamai family were all very good looking. Needless to say about the two sisters, Uncle Tianhai is absolutely a very handsome man. Even though Soichiro Amkai has entered old age, he still has a full temperament, and the handsomeness of his youth can be vaguely seen on his face. Snow in the sky and sea. When Sakakihara Raku saw her for the first time, he felt that she was just like her name, as pure and white as the snow floating in the air. When Higsu was born, her mother passed away due to dystocia, and she didn't like to see outsiders, so she always had a private school teacher at home to teach her, and she never saw much of the outside world. Mr. Tianhai explained, it can be seen that he cares unusually for this little daughter. Tianhai's Higsu walked quietly and came to the empty seat where she usually sat. She seemed not to have heard what the old man said. Like a sloth, she pulled out the chair and took a seat in the usual sequence of actions. Amamai Madayan was also paying attention to his sister. He said to the old man, "It won't work if we continue like this. Why didn't you make a choice earlier?" "I know, I have been planning this recently." "Can we start eating?" Tianhai's Higsu asked Mr. Tianhai, who was directly above him. "Yeah, okay." After receiving his father's response, Tianhai's Higsu picked up the chopsticks and began to eat slowly. The head of the house also started to move. Sakakibara saw everyone using their chopsticks and naturally started to eat breakfast. The breakfast of rich people has a very unique taste. This breakfast was quite enjoyable. This is due to the old man's active concern for Aling. The old man asked about Aling's work, her daily work routine, and other trivial matters such as what she usually does and how her daily life is like. He also said that if Aling wanted to invest in something, she could just tell him and it would be no problem for him to come up with some money. The atmosphere is enhanced by the daily warmth of a family having breakfast together. These words of concern for Suzu made Sakakihara Raku feel that the old man was more like an ordinary grandpa, rather than an extremely stern old man. For a moment, I still didn't understand why Uncle Tianhai hated the old man so much. This question was something that Raku Sakakihara only found out about after asking Uncle Amamai. Before Higsu was born, the old man was the kind of person who was very serious about his children and lacked care. After Tianhai's Higsu was born, the old man began to slowly undergo some changes. I also know how to care about my children and future generations. This is one of the reasons why Uncle Tianhai is willing to return to Tianhai's house and ease the relationship with the old man. As for Sakakibara Raku, the old man really never asked him any questions. Being treated differently in this invisible way will create an inexplicable pressure. But after Nanamayu's reminder, Sakakihara Raku also knew that this was the old man testing himself. He didn't care at all. If he felt uncomfortable or angry just because of this, that would be the worst sign of failure. When the meal was about to end, Soichiro Amkai deliberately avoided Shigenori Amamai and asked directly to Suzu Sakakibara. Ling, I heard that your brother is dating one of my granddaughters. Well, who is it specifically? After a long period of silence, Suzuki Sakakihara hesitated and replied. 7 bright moons. As soon as these words came out, the only exceptions at the dining table were Tianhai Kaimingyu, who continued to eat calmly, and Tianhai's Higsu, who was unaware. The expressions or movements on the faces and hands of Amamai Shigenori, Amamai Miwa, Amamai Kurayuri, and Sakakibara Raku were all stunned. His eyes were full of astonishment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 221. Snowflakes were flying in the dining room and outside of Tianhai's house. In the room, there was a peaceful atmosphere. Amamai no Yuki was eating quietly on the right side of Suichiro Amamai. Her innocent little face made her look indifferent to the world. Of course, the peaceful indoor environment belongs only to her. I heard that we have been dating for a while. Facing Mr. Amamai, who was sitting at the table with the room chief, Suzu Sakakihara didn't want to lie. For Chi Minjio, she had done her best to say those 3 words just now. Don't worry about my business next time. You can do whatever you like. So, Sakakibara Suzu used her eyes to decisively throw the question to Amamai Nanamajetsu, who was calmly eating breakfast. The old man also looked at his little granddaughter's face. Yes, Tianhai Chi Minjio agreed calmly. How long have you been dating? Less than a month. You like him? Because of what? Talent. What I like is his persistence in trying his best to pursue something. Tianhai Kaimingyu was of course a polite comment, but it was also a reminder to someone that he should stick to the promise he made. Amkai Soichiro made no comment, and then looked at Sakakibara Raku. The meaning of this look is difficult to fathom. Or observation. Or review. Or is he just an elder looking at his granddaughter's boyfriend? You can't guess. If you try to take on the identity of the head of the Amkai family and examine Sakakibara Raku, you still can't guess what the old man's look means and what he will say next. Amkai Soichiro withdrew his gaze, and slowly turned his gaze to the shawanmushi with rice in front of him. He reached out to open the lid and said in a thick voice. Midian mentioned your matter to me. There are too many things that I don't want to say more. A situation like yours, given your respective identities, is something that is absolutely not allowed to exist. Change it? I won't allow it before. Soichiro Tenkai put the chicken in the shawanmushi in front of him, poured the chicken slices with soup stock with a small spoon, put it in his mouth and chewed it slowly. During the whole process, there was only the sound of chopsticks clashing with porcelain bowls. Everyone was waiting for the old man to continue talking. After finishing the chicken, the old man held his porcelain chopsticks and looked at the bowl in front of him again, and continued. Do you understand what you are carrying? He didn't say this to anyone, nor did he express it with his eyes. But there is no doubt that the old man is asking Sakakibara Raku, or him. Faced with the question, Sakakihara Raku did not answer immediately because the waves in his heart had not yet calmed down. He was still shocked by the answer given by Aling. What's going on? Aling, why did you answer Chi Minjio? Sakakibara tried his best to keep his facial expression from breaking. He even looked at Tianhai Jurili and found that she was also in a daze. She obviously didn't recover from Aling's answer. She doesn't know either. What to do? The old man apparently mistook his current girlfriend for Chi Minjio. 7 bright moons. Amamai Shigenori, who was sitting across the dining table, frowned slightly when he heard Isuzu's answer. He also didn't expect that Sakakibara Suzu answered Nanamayu instead of Jurili. Slip of the tongue? Certainly not. Chi Minjio naturally agreed after being asked by the old man. Even his father might have been deceived by his younger daughter if he hadn't known in advance that Jirulai and Sakakibara Raku had a better relationship. Nanami Mingzuki also admitted that she likes Sakakibara Raku. What's going on? Regardless of whether it is true or not, based on his experience and intuition accumulated from handling various commercial cases for a long time, Tianhai Madayan knew that there was a lot of fishiness involved. He still can't figure out the way. Wait and see for now. As a mother, Amamai Mihi was also full of doubts. How did Aling answer Chi Minjiao? Why did Chi Minjiao agree? Why does Chi Minjiao still admit that she likes Ale? Aren't Julie Yulai and Le in love? Le and Julie Yulai haven't reconciled yet? Questions were raised one after another, but they were not solved at all. Tianhai Mihi had a vague intuition in her heart that made her guess, Chi Minjiao actually likes her son too. Is Chi Minjiao's character too ridiculous? But something didn't seem right. The fact that Chi Minjiao suddenly chased her back to her hometown on Shikoku Island a while ago already made her suspicious. In addition, she said that she and Le had met each other since childhood. No, this girl Chi Minjiao doesn't really like Le, right? This is simply terrifying to think about. Two girls actually like their son at the same time. Le, what sin have you committed? Raku Sakakihara captures a variety of emotions, looks, and expressions on this table where there is only silence. Aling's dodge, uncle's caution, mother's surprise, Julie Yulai's dullness, and Tianhai's Higsyu's quiet sips of food. All of this, coupled with the old man's deliberately pressuring eyes, made Sakakibara's heart beat faster and he was almost out of breath. What is this? He felt like he was walking on a tightrope every day and his scalp was numb. Determined not to give up easily, Sakakibara's brain was racing. He connected everything he knew. Thinking about it carefully, he gradually understood. There is no doubt that this is Tianhai Kaimingyu's move to wipe out the fire power. Even though he didn't admit it personally, with Chi Minjiao's immediate agreement, the old man had no conditions not to believe it. In addition, Chi Minjiao blocked her mouth with promise. To let himself fulfill his promise of not giving up to her, he had no way to explain it directly to the old man. What a great trick! Sakakibara Raku was speechless. But even better. Through previous conversations and attitudes with the old man, it was clear that the old man did not agree with his relationship with his granddaughter because they had a double family identity. Even if the adopted brothers and sisters are within the scope of the law, the old man is not very willing. Madayan mentioned it to me. This shows that the uncle has been talking to the old man for a while about him and Julie Yulai. Judging from what the old man said just now, the uncle has succeeded, and he is not very opposed to the relationship between the two now. That is to say, his uncle helped him put in a good word with Julie Yulai and made the old man admit their relationship. But now, the benefits that Julie Yulai deserved have been replaced by Chi Minjiao. Let Chi Minjiao pick the peaches. Julie Yulai was dumbfounded. I know it took Sakakibara a while to come back to his senses and answer the question that Mr. Mmai just asked. No, it really doesn't work. Xiao Qiu's move was too cruel. What he needs is balance, not imbalance. Julie Yulai is now in a state of shock. He was thinking hard about how to help Julie Yulai speak. Just let the old man know that both twins like him. What do you think is the difference between our family's interactions and ordinary people's interactions? This is definitely not a casual relationship. Amkaiso Ichiro was quite satisfied, with a quite understanding look in his eyes. He then continued. You should have heard from Madayan that I have 9 daughters. For them, I have always said, don't take the matter of dating too easily and simply. The credibility of the family is reflected in every move you make. I often warn them that they must not damage Tianhai's reputation when they are outside on weekdays. I will not interfere in daily life, and I don't like to interfere, but on this point, I will never give in. It's over, Now there's no last way. As soon as these words came out of his mouth, Sakaki Hararaku understood that he must not let the old man know that both sisters liked him. He didn't agree with it in the first place, and then let him know that both his granddaughters liked the same person. Everything is messed up. Do you understand what I mean? Understood, Sakaki Hara answered with a lot of pressure. You understand, right? Let me think about it. Well, Chi Minjiao is turning 16 this October. You are more than a year older than her, which means you are 17 and about to turn 18. Amkai Soichiro placed the porcelain chopsticks on the chopstick pillow. He pondered for a moment, and then said without any doubt. Let's do this. On the day you turn 18, you and Chi Minjiao will decide to get married. Sakaki Hararaku. Sakaki Harasuzu was surprised. Huh, are you about to get engaged? Tianhai Kaimingyu drank tea calmly, the time can be a little earlier. You are impatient. Actually, 18 is just right. Grandfather. Tianhai Julie Yulai couldn't sit still at all. She stood up, wanting to loudly accuse Chi Minjiao, the thief. But, what can she do? I can't tell my grandpa that I like Sakaki Bararaku. I can't tell my grandpa that I am my real girlfriend. Tianhai Julie Yulai still tried his best to suppress his emotions due to his good qualities and the knowledge that he should not let his grandfather discover the clues. Calm down, be calm. If I say it now, it will be all over. Tianhai Julie Yulai glanced at Tianhai Kaimingyu obviously, and then realized that the sister was still drinking tea calmly. A posture of sister, I win this time. How abominable. Tianhai Julie Yulai sat back again, angry in his heart, but not overwhelmed by the anger. She tried her best to keep a straight face, trying to tell herself not to be angry, but to be calm and collected. It was precisely because of her efforts that no one noticed anything strange. Amkai Soichiro looked at Amakai Kuruori who was about to speak, and he was not surprised that someone raised questions. Julie Yulai. Yeah, Grandpa. What do you want to say? I just think it would be inappropriate to get engaged to Chi Minjiao so early, right? The old man waited for a moment, and then continued while picking up the vegetables. Of course it's not that simple. If he doesn't meet the standards I need when he turns 18, the engagement will naturally be out of the question. The engagement can never be so hasty, but your sister seems quite anxious. Chi Minjiao, can she not be impatient? Tianhai Julie Yulai was anxious. If you are really engaged, what should you do if you are really engaged? Amkai Soichiro said to Sakaki Bararaku again. Do you know why I want to get you engaged so early? Understand better, Sakaki Bara replied. Well, I won't beat around the bush with you. I have learned about you from Shijden in advance, and I have privately asked Tachibana Kiyohara to help me pay attention to your performance in school. Shijden has most likely told you about this. In other words, I have been following you for a long time. In my opinion, you are a person who is obviously worth cultivating. Regardless of your grades, just the improvement you have shown in school is enough for me to give you a certain amount of time. Understood, Sakaki Bara nodded. I got you engaged so early for a simple purpose, to tie you to our Tianhai family's ship early. Only after you get engaged will I feel more confident in cultivating you through family resources. Amkai Soichiro paused for a moment. As the heir to the family. The Tianhai family is now full of daughters. From a certain perspective, it really embarrasses the old man. Of course, there are prerequisites for this, Soichiro Tenkai continued, you need to meet several of my conditions. First, change your surname to Tianhai after getting engaged. Second, take over part of the family company after graduation and learn management. Third, soon later, I will throw you a bad debt that continues to make losses. You need to turn losses into profits when you are 18, that is, within these few months. Agree to these conditions, and when you are of the right age, you can get engaged to Chi Minjio. The last one is the most important. The old man wants to see his ability to solve problems. But wrong. Totally wrong. Why did he suddenly agree to be engaged to Chi Minjio? A few seconds ago, wasn't the old man asking about his relationship with his granddaughter? It's too early, Tianhimadayan suddenly interrupted. Amkai Soichiro followed the voice and looked towards his son. Tianhimadayan met his father's gaze. It's too early to get engaged, and it's too early to conduct your inspection. Le is only in the first grade of high school now. Then you want me to marry off my granddaughter without doing anything? Amkai Soichiro's words did not waver, he was just stating an undoubted fact. This is a matter for the younger generation. That's what you told me when you married the British guy. Tianhai Mao Pian pretended not to see his father's expression and continued, you are a little hasty in wanting Le to be the heir. You have so many sons-in-law, you have to pick them. Mode Nori, you understand what it means to be young. There's no need to train him so early. Tianhimadayan looked back, ignoring the pressure from his father's eyes. It's not too late to discuss this matter after Ale graduates from high school. Now you suddenly have to agree to the choice you gave him. Have you considered his own thoughts? If you want to get something, you should naturally give something. This is just a wishful thinking you attach to others. You didn't listen to me at first, and now you're back. Where's the woman who asked you to go to England before? Let's discuss matters as they are. You don't have to settle old scores all the time. This is not rehashing old scores, this is teaching you how to talk to your father. The smell of gunpowder between Tianhai and his son is getting stronger and stronger, and the pressure in Sakakibara Raku's heart is also increasing. Especially Julie Yulai. When Julie Yulai heard that he was going to be engaged to Chi Minjio, her heart was filled with despair, and Sakakibara Raku also felt uncomfortable. She must have never imagined that 1 second she was still a decent girlfriend, and the next second she was labeled as a third party. Grandpa arranged the engagement forcefully and would not let anyone else interfere. He wouldn't even listen to his uncle's words. What to do? Sakakibara frowned deeply. No, I have to say something. He must try to resolve the extremely anxious situation, calm down Julie Yulai's mood, and prevent the old man from getting engaged to her. First of all, we must keep in mind that we cannot let the old man know that he has the idea of I want it all. Everyone, can you listen to what I have to say? Sakakihara stood up with his hands on the table. For a moment, everyone in the restaurant looked at him, including the father and son Amamai Soichiro and Amamai Shigenori, who were arguing. Even Uncle Sakura, who had been standing at the door sighing in his heart, the master and the master are quarreling again, also looked at Sakakibara Raku. Except for Tianhai's Higsu, who has been taking small bites to eat, she is indifferent to the world. The large and spacious Japanese room suddenly became quiet. The air was so silent that Sakakibara couldn't help but hold his breath. He deliberately improved his 5 senses and accidentally observed the many famous swords placed behind Mr. Amamai, as well as the huge copybook with the word heart in it. Under the gaze of everyone, Amkai Soichiro's gaze was particularly stressful. Sakakibara let out a sigh of relief and nodded to the old man. First of all, I would like to thank Grandpa for the hospitality of this breakfast, and also thank Grandpa for thinking so much about me, but I think it is still too early for the wedding. After hearing this, Amamai Kuruori looked directly at Sakakibara Raku. No one knows what is going on in her mind. Amamai Nanamajetsu was quite disgusted with Sakakihara Raku suddenly interrupting the good things between the two of them. From my sister's perspective, he must be a very thoughtful guy. But from the perspective of Kaimingyu, forget it, it can be regarded as his adaptability. If he doesn't care about his sister, he will look down on him. Because this means that he doesn't care about people at all. Are you denying my decision? Yes, because Grandpa's decision does not suit you now. Reason. Under the gaze of the family head, Raku Sakakibara replied with a normal expression, "When I was 18 years old, Nana Magetsu was only 16 years old." For a young man who was only in the first year of high school, this age was just like what his uncle said. Too small. Young age is not a problem, so Ichiro Amakai was obviously unhappy and frowned. On the contrary, it is precisely because of my young age that grandpa cannot get married prematurely. You are the head of the Tianhai family. You must be aware of the changes in values in modern times, right? This will definitely affect people's judgments on some things today. And in the long span from engagement to marriage, as you grow up, your values will also change. During this period, there will definitely be various uncontrollable factors. If you want to eliminate all these factors, you must be more restrained. What do you want to say? So Ichiro Tiankai somewhat understood what he meant. Premature marriage will bind people. I think grandpa also understands what premature binding means, right? So Ichiro Tenkai was silent. Amamai maid Nori also fell silent after hearing this. Sakakibara Raku's tone is tactful, and her actions and demeanor are polite. His words are actually reminding the old man that premature restraint will lead people to follow Uncle Tianhai's old path. If the old man changes, then this sentence is definitely the thing that the old man least wants and hates to see. Sure enough, after hearing this, Soichiro Amkai didn't feel any offense to Sakakibara Raku, which instead made the old man take a look at his little daughter, Amamine Wayuki. Raku Sakakibara immediately added, "Of course I have no problem with the second condition. Being able to have a decent corporate management job as soon as I graduate is something I can only dream of. As for the third condition..." Sakakibara deliberately straightened his back and glanced at Amamai Shigenori, who was leaning on the table with his hands. "I would also like to thank my uncle for speaking for me just now, but I think there is no need to refuse the test of this third condition. I am confident enough and can completely solve the problem Grandpa asked." Confidence. Yes, confidence. Amkai Soichiro looked at him and smiled interestingly. The wrinkles on his face revealed that he was unexpectedly surprised by Sakakibara's answer. He put his hands into the sleeves of his gray and black kimono. "Is it before you know what test I am going to give you?" "Yes." "Even so, can you still say that you have confidence in yourself?" "Yes, confident." "Haha, interesting. What a arrogant and interesting young man." Soichiro Amakai slapped the table with one hand, which caused Amamai no Yuki to look at her father with doubts in her eyes. The old man stood up with a smile. He walked to the old housekeeper Uncle Ying and took the fluffy cloak from his hand. After tying the cloak around his neck, the old man stood at the door of the Japanese room, as if he was about to go out. He said to Sakakibara Raku, "Very good. Although arrogance is a bit arrogant, few people are more arrogant in front of me. Considering that you are my step-grandson, I will choose a more difficult test for you as appropriate. You can say it at the front, if you can't finish." "Thank you, Grandpa." Sakakibara nodded immediately and thanked him. "You're pretty good." Amkai Soichiro shook his head with a smile, and explained to everyone who was still dining that he was going to the club. Finally, he glanced at his little daughter sitting at the other end of the dining table. Snow. All kinds of experiences flashed before my eyes. Soichiro Amkai also had some nostalgia in his eyes. Perhaps, the child was right, too much restraint was not conducive to her growth as herself. Maybe, it's time to change things up a bit. Afterwards, Soichiro Amkai walked out of the dining room, and the back of the old man in gray and black kimono disappeared from everyone's eyes. Uncle Ying also bent down and said goodbye to everyone, and temporarily disappeared from everyone's sight. The head of the family disappeared, and Raku Sakakibara breathed a sigh of relief. Comfortable. But what is this? Aren't you here to accompany Aling to her birthday party today? Have such a stressful birthday party? Tuk tuk. At this moment, there was another sudden sound that broke the silence. Amami Shigenori knocked on the dining table with his fingers. His expression was extremely serious, his eyes focused on the faces of Sakakibara Raku, Amami Nanamajetsu, Amami Kuruori, and Sakakibara Suzu. His eyes swept over them one by one. Then, using the serious voice of a middle-aged man as a lawyer, he said seriously to the crowd. Okay, now tell me what's going on with you. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 222. Amami Shigenori's eyes swept over the faces of everyone at the table one by one. He captured the subtle movements and expressions on the faces and hands of his eldest daughter, his youngest daughter, and his stepson and stepdaughter. From their expressions, Amami Midori could vaguely deduce the current situation. But rather than speculate on his own, he wanted to hear how the person involved explained it to him. So, did any of you come out and explain what just happened? Everyone is silent. Seeing no response from anyone, Amami Modani closed his eyes and continued. In that case, let me tell you, Sakakibara Raku stood up. He looked at his uncle, who was also his stepfather, and said directly, both Chi Minjio and Julie Yulai like me. Miwa Tianhai, who was sitting next to her uncle, frowned slightly. Unexpectedly, Amami Madenori didn't have any overly surprised reaction, as if he could calmly accept this fact. He looked at his eldest daughter opposite the long table and on the inside of the house, Julie Yulai. After Tianhai Julie Yulai hesitated for a moment, he nodded gently. It can be regarded as acknowledging what Sakakibara Raku said just now. Her tangled hands were on top of the skirt that covered her legs. Amami Madayan put his eyes on his little daughter's face again, Chi Minjio. Amami Nanami didn't nod, but judging from the way she closed her eyes, she also acquiesced to what Sakakibara Raku said just now. Tianhai Madayan was silent for a long time and then said. So, my two daughters both like their adopted brother whom they have known for less than a year. Tianhai Kaimingyu spoke, more than 1 year. What's the meaning? My brother and I also knew each other when we were young. We knew each other when we were kids. Tianhai Madayan searched through his memories carefully, but he didn't have any impression. How old were you? When I was 5 years old, my mother took my sister and I on a trip. Amami Shigenori frowned and recalled for a moment, vaguely recalling some fragments, the time she took you to Shikoku Island. Yes. His mother hurriedly added next to him, before we moved to Tokyo, we had been living in our hometown on Shikoku Island. Didn't Chi Minjio follow us back to our hometown a while ago? She didn't tell you about this. She only told me that she was going to see my grandma, but she didn't explain anything else. Tianhai Mai nodded and glanced at Tianhai Chi Minjio and Tianhai Julie Yulai. I also learned from Chi Minjio that these children have known each other since childhood. I was not at home during that time, and Le and Aling's grandmother was taking care of them. Tianhai Madayan remembered something again. This incident left a deep impression on him. That was less than a year after Bertha returned from taking them on a trip. Chi Minjio ran away, alone. She was more than 5 years old and less than 6 years old that day. She took a large sum of money she had left at home and traveled from Tokyo alone across Kanagawa, Nagaya, Tokyo, Kobe, and Shikoku Chuo City, and ran to Ehime Prefecture by train and taxi. Songshan City. He searched anxiously for many days but found no information. It was not until a week later that he received a call from the Songshan County Police Station, saying that a little girl came to them and said she could not find her home. She only had a small backpack, some change, and a map. It wasn't until he took a plane to Matsuyama City to see Nanami Moon that he realized that his almost 6-year-old daughter had actually traveled across most of Japan by train and taxi. The policemen and flight attendants he met during the period were all disgusted by her words. He was deceived by his appearance as a toddler. This incident was considered an anecdote at the time, and even the policeman responsible for receiving Chi Minjia was surprised when he learned the specific situation. As for the reason, at that time, Chi Minjia was unwilling to explain to him the reason for coming here. Even if he asked Bertha, she didn't know at all. Julie Yulai also kept silent about this. Now that I think about it, I'm afraid it wasn't related to Le, and Chi Minjia was deeply influenced to do that. Both Chi Minjia and Julie Yulai like you. Yes, Sakakihara nodded and admitted, and Sakakihara Suzu also knew this situation. Are you influenced by your childhood? Sakakibara looked at Nanami specifically, and then nodded and admitted, yes. Tian Himadayan thought for a moment and roughly understood why the situation was like this. Can both daughters like the same person? This fact made him feel solemn. Because of conflicts with his family when he was young, Amami Maid Nori admitted that he was aware of the fact that he did not take good care of his two daughters. Their relationship with him cannot be said to be good, nor can it be said to be bad. They will not hinder their work and rarely demand anything from themselves. As a father, I can only teach them about etiquette and upbringing. From the beginning, I was determined not to let my elders interfere with their own feelings in the future, and I didn't want them to be subject to too much control by father like me. I probably already know the situation. Tian Himadayan closed his eyes. It's just that you two like Le at the same time. Opposite me, Sakakibara Raku has always been paying attention to his uncle's attitude. Judging from his uncle's expression after learning about this incident, he doesn't seem to be too opposed to it. With my identity in this matter, I don't want to interfere too much with you. Judging from what I said before, I can't interfere too much with Chi Minjia and Julie Yulai. If I want to forcefully change your minds, forcefully change your current situation. If I want to do something, I will undoubtedly become the same person as the old man. This is something I don't want to happen anyway. Hearing this, Sakakihara Raku felt relieved. Uncle seems to be less difficult to talk to than Grandpa. Let your mother ask you questions. Tian Himadayan gave the right to speak to his mother. Tian Himi's expression was a little complicated. She never expected that her son would be liked by the two girls Chi Minjia and Julie Yulai. They are all very good people. Julie Yulai had a fight with Le before, right? Tianhai and Chao Tianhai Chi Minjia looked over. Yeah, Tianhai Julie Yulai nodded. Is it officially reconciled now? Reconciled. What about your relationship? Brother, forgive me. I can't comment on this matter. After all, it's about your biological mother. But since you two have reconciled, you should be Le's girlfriend now. Yes. Then why? Tianhai he turned her attention to Aling and Chi Minjia again, and took a look at each. Aling, you want to say it is Chi Minjia when Grandpa asks you. You should know Aling and Chi Minjia, it's only right that Julie Yulai is dating. Sakakihara Suzu finally knew that everything about her brother had been exposed. Now she just wanted to tell the truth. I only know that their relationship has become better recently. I don't know whether you are in love or not. Let me explain this matter. Nanami took the initiative to interrupt Sakakibara Suzu's reply with a cold voice. I was the one who asked Sister Chan to take the initiative to say his name in front of Grandpa. She didn't know Grandpa's personality in advance. And didn't know about Grandpa's idea of getting engaged immediately. To be honest, even I was surprised by Grandpa's decision. Then why did Chi Minjia do this? Tianhai he asked. And, if I don't do this, will anyone care about my feelings? Or, will anyone support me? My sister can happily stay with her brother every day, smiling and happy every day. Yes, she is very happy. But I can't stand it. Because this is the consequence of my sister's decision to seize love and monopolize it even though she knew I liked someone. Sister, she has taken everything, her parents' support, someone's love, everything. Identity of. If I don't do something, what else can I do? Even if I choose to remain silent and don't take the initiative to fight for it, even if I tell you my thoughts, will you choose to support me? No, absolutely not. Because in the eyes of my father and aunt, my sister is the one who came first and is the one who is loved by someone. Their feelings and kindness, but my thoughts are of no importance at all, and I should not get involved. If I choose to remain silent, I will have nothing, and everything will be snatched up by my sister. Only through this incident can I get support on the surface and let everyone understand my thoughts. I am willing to pay a heavy price for my thoughts. Only in this way can I let my father and aunt see the weight of my thoughts. Tianhai Chi Minjiao's self-explanatory speech was like a tiny steel needle hanging in front of her eyes. It directly made everyone clearly understand her attitude and her actions. Even Tianhai Mihi can understand that Tianhai Kaimingyu's emotions are definitely not something that can be made to give up with just a few words of persuasion. Compared to Amamai Miwa, Amamai Maid Nori knows more about what happened to his little daughter when she was a child. Therefore, he also understood more clearly what a serious person Tianhai Kaimingyu was. It is impossible to persuade her to give up, she understands what she is doing, she wants to gain what she lost before. This understanding hovered in Amamai Shidanori's mind. Tianhai Kaimingyu sits in an upright posture, with an expressionless and exquisite face under her flaxen hair. I emphasize again that today, I am just letting myself formally express my position, and it is just to let my father and aunt understand my thoughts clearly. The wide rectangle and the interior were silent again. Tianhai Madayan looked at his eldest daughter. What about Julie Yulai? What does Julie Yulai think of this matter? Tianhai Ju really sat in the same sitting posture, as if another Nanamayu was engraved on another seat of Sakakibara Raku. She did not look at her sister who was a seat away from her, but looked directly at her father and aunt. I won't give up either. For me, my brother's presence is irreplaceable. I believe my father also knows that my mother has come to see me recently. Every time, my mother asks me to participate in the international piano competition that she expects. My mother is my pillar of support, and my mother has always recognized my existence. The expectations given to me have also become the goals I have adhered to for more than 10 years. For more than 10 years, my mother has always said this to me. For more than 10 years, I have been vaguely aware of my mother's true attitude towards me. But when I really heard my mother say in private, I don't have any feelings at all. When I came to see her as my daughter, only my brother chose to abandon his previous prejudice against me, choose to forgive me, and comfort me. I know that I did something to him that was completely unworthy of forgiveness. But after seeing me sad, he still chose to get close to me and chose to forgive. The guilt and gratitude towards him are all things that I can't bear to express fill the mood. From that day on, I also realized what true love is, and I also understood that people who truly love and are willing to accept me are so close. In addition, I still received encouragement and support from my brother time and time again, and gained love and recognition. So, I won't give up. Tianhai Julie Yulai spoke this sentence calmly throughout the whole process. Even Tianhai Madayan and Tianhai Mihi felt uncomfortable after hearing this. Especially when Julie Yulai calmly said what Bertha said, I don't regard her as a daughter at all. I realized what kind of mentality Julie Yulai had in saying this calmly. In his eyes, there is determination and perseverance, as well as gratitude and affection. These are all good signs that you like someone. However, these things are undoubtedly more difficult choices for Tianhai Madayan. He suddenly realized that there was no point in worrying about who was right and who was wrong. My two daughters, Julie Yulai and Chi Minjiao, are working hard to fight for their own happiness. None of them were wrong. It's like he will try to get rid of the old man's control for his own ideas. Everything is to stick to the thoughts and needs in the heart. As a father, he does not want to agree with the old man's behavior and purpose. There is even less reason to reject the ideas of his two daughters. Amamai made Nori took a breath, as if the cold wind on the snowy day outside had filled his lungs, diluting the heat. I understand. Everyone was waiting for him to continue. Your ideas are all correct. Your words made me understand this fact. Do you want me to violate my original promise to you and forcefully change your ideas? I'm sorry, as Amamai Shidanori, I can't do it at all. I have been around since I was a child. My experience and feelings tell me not to try to control a person, as this will only lead to resistance and disgust. It will make a good family become broken. This is my personal experience. And as a father, since I have lacked family care for you since you were young, I am even less qualified to forcibly discipline you. So, let it be up to you too. Maid Nori. Amamai Maid Nori stretched out his hand to signal to his wife beside him not to persuade him. It's hard to distinguish between right and wrong when it comes to relationships. Everyone has someone they like, and if they all happen to be concentrated on the same person, it's even more sad and sad. Chi Minjio and Julie Yulai both know what they are doing, and all they have to do is work hard to pursue the relationship they want. I believe Ale can definitely feel this from them. Noticing that his uncle was looking towards him, Sakakibara couldn't help but look towards the two sisters. I know it's hard for you to make a choice, because in your opinion, Kyo and Liulai are both very good girls, and they are both people who are willing to respond to your feelings. I don't know much about the things between you. But I can guess that Ale will feel particularly uncomfortable when you are sandwiched between them, swinging from side to side. This is also something that can't be helped. Your mother and I have talked about a lot of things about you. After getting along these days, although we don't talk much, I also know that you are the kind of person who needs care very much. You want to get recognition from them, maybe care obviously. You succeeded. They all lacked care and love since childhood because of me or Bertha, so they responded to you. I am also wrong in this matter. I am not qualified to say that you are wrong, because you are taking care of Julie Yulai and Chi Minjio for us. It is right and natural for them to like you. After Amamai Maid Nori took a long breath, he continued. After all that, it's just that I respect your personal choices. You can make your own decisions. Relieved. Uncle Tianhai's words really made people feel relieved. Sakaki Hararaku also breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you, uncle, for your understanding. Amamai Maid Nori did not nod along with his words, but continued to look at everyone and said. The decision is up to you. As for how to get along with each other in the future, it is entirely up to you. But I must remind you solemnly, Chi Minjio and Julie Yulai. You are twin sisters who are only 5 minutes apart. For more than 10 years, don't let the impulse of the moment destroy your mind. I had impulsively married Bertha without realizing what kind of person she really was. Your feelings are your business. I only have one request, don't make this family a mess. You must understand and remember that after you are separated from your respective emotions, after you calm down, you will still be a family that will laugh and reunite together around a table of meals. Amamai Maid Nori suddenly sighed. After decades of living, I have only recently understood what I really want. But many things are irreversible, and because of this, I chose to remarry your aunt. This is experience and warning. You must clear. Okay, that's it. Today is Aling's birthday. If there are other things or if there are any questions, we'll talk about them later. Amamai Maid Nori stood up and quickly left the room. After looking at everyone and saying a few words, my mother also walked out. Seeing everyone's relief, Sakakihara Raku also knew that today's official showdown had been reluctantly resolved. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 223. After my uncle and my mother left the room, they were ready to go outside to get some fresh air. The atmosphere in the restaurant is still solemn. This was probably the Cold War period after the quarrel, when no one wanted to take the initiative to speak. Sakakibara originally wanted to say something to Juliuli and Chi Minjiu, but when he saw the tense aura when they looked at each other, he knew that this was a time where dialogue was impossible. Everyone needs to calm down. Young master. Sakakibara followed the sound and looked over, finding that it was Uncle Sakura who had returned here after seeing off the old man. As if he didn't notice the atmosphere here, he put a smile on his face and enthusiastically suggested to everyone whether they wanted to have a snack, visit the house, or take a bath in a hot spring or other activities to pass the time. Uncle Ying's appearance gave everyone in the room a choice of steps to take. The atmosphere naturally relaxed a lot. I have to admire the old housekeeper's vision. Let's soak in the hot springs, Sakakibara said. Uncle Ying looked at Juliuli and Chi Minjiu again. What about the young ladies? Tianhai Kaimingyu waved her hands and spoke calmly as if what just happened had never happened. We don't need to bother you, Uncle Ying. Just take him to the new bedroom that Grandpa prepared for him. I'll go back to my own room. Tianhai Juliuli's opinion was also very different. Sakakibara Suzu really wanted to talk to Sakakibara Raku, but now she knew it was not the time, so she told Sakura to go get some snacks. I am coming too. Only then did Raku Sakakihara remember that there was an ant here, and the girl had just listened to what they said. Mrs. Higsu also wants to have some snacks, Uncle Ying asked. Yes, Tianhai's Higsu nodded lightly. Can you go by yourself? Okay. After looking at Uncle Ying for a while, Tianhai's Higsu made a voice as small as the breeze. Although her voice was thin, her words were extremely clear, allowing people to fully understand what she meant. But no matter how many times I listen to it, the emotion remains weak. Sakakihara Raku could tell that this was the usual tone of San Mukingyu. It was also this kind of bland, emotionless voice. Then, Tianhai's Higsu left. Mrs. Higsu, Uncle Ying quickly called her. Tianhai's Higsu turned her head, speechless and expressionless, but the way she looked at people made it clear that she was waiting for others to speak. Uncle Ying smiled and said, Mrs. Higsu, Miss Ling is coming with you. Miss, can you take her with you? Okay, she agreed. Sakakihara Suzu came to her. She was very curious about this aunt. She felt that this girl had a weird personality and was very dull. You are called Higsu, right? Yuki. It's so cute to shout. Cute, Tianhai's Higsu tilted her head with an expression of incomprehension. This is what praise means. We should use Yamato Nadeshiko and Komaka Muzume. Komaka-kun. Sakakihara Raku had heard of this title before. It probably refers to Ono Komaka, a beautiful poet during the Heian period. It was later used as a word to praise people's beauty, but no one uses this ancient word like this at all now. Sakakihara Suzu is very confused. What kind of compliment is this only for grandfathers? Not that serious. The conversation between the two was very brief. Tianhai's Higsu probably doesn't like to talk. And Sakakihara Suzu wanted to escape from the current embarrassing atmosphere. Looking at the backs of the two people walking towards the other end of the wide corridor, Sakura explained beside Raku Sakakibara, because Ms. Yuki doesn't like contact with the outside world. Until now, Miss Yuki has grown up at home. People outside don't know much about it. Then you need to go to school, right? Sakakihara asked. Uncle Ying shook his head. Mrs. Higsu was taught by the teacher hired by the master. She studied in a private school and has never officially gone to the outside world to study. As for her strange personality, it is because Mrs. Higgsyu has been sick since she was a child and is easy to notice. I have trouble concentrating, always forgetting things. If there is anything wrong or offensive, please don't blame Mrs. Higgsyu, young master, that is not her true intention. No, it's Uncle Ying who said something serious. Sakakibara glanced at Amamai Kuruori and Amamai Nanamajetsu. After confirming that they had nothing to say to him, he was still going to follow Sakura to the hot springs. Then please young master, come with me. He bowed and saluted very respectfully. He was so respectful that Sakakibara Raku didn't even realize that he was still a young master. Following Sakura all the way to the room that his grandfather had prepared for him in the mansion, Sakakibara Raku was led into a deeper room by Sakura before he could even appreciate the skylight in the room and the beautiful view of the snowy grassland outside. There is a hot spring here that is constantly bubbling water. The room is filled with heat, and just by staying here for a moment, the air seems to have heated up several degrees. Sakakibara Raku can also smell a bit of sulfur. This is exactly what hot springs taste like. Is this hot spring available in every room? No, this is specially prepared by the master for the young master. Raku Sakakibara turned his head and looked at the transparent floor-to-ceiling window glass that could be pulled down with the curtain. He looked through the huge glass curtain wall and looked out at the snow-covered grassland and the back garden of the mansion. The white snow scene with no end visible makes people feel vast. Special treatment means special risks. Treating yourself so well when you are a complete stranger is definitely not good. Anyway, that's what Sakakibara Raku thinks. The large hot spring in front of him, which can accommodate several people, is enough to explain the problem. Then I will go out and prepare clothes for you, young master. Please feel free to use the bathroom. Okay, thanks. When Sakura left the room, Sakakibara was not in a hurry to take a bath. He first did a few stretches to relax his body, then stepped into the hot spring and let his whole body sink into the warm water. Ah! The comfort of hot water covering your body and penetrating into your skin makes the accumulated chill and fatigue all over your body seem to disappear in one go. Sakakibara closed his eyes and listened to the sound of hot spring water in the bathroom, relaxing and relaxing. It seems like a lot of things happened today. In just one morning, I was faced with a lot of information and choices. As for the test that the old man agreed to be honest, he had no idea what it was. He stood up and spoke just to take care of Juliulai's mood. If he didn't do this, once he married Chi Minjio, Juliulai would suddenly have nothing. And if I didn't stand up at that time, I wouldn't be a simple scumbag, but a scumbag. This is too cruel for Juliulai, who wants to entrust her life to herself. Therefore, for this purpose, even if he didn't know what test the old man was going to give him, he still had to endure it. I wonder if it can be achieved. Sakakibara knew that even if he couldn't achieve it, he would still try his best to achieve it. This is something that can't be helped. Go over there. An untimely cold voice directly interrupted Sakakibara Raku's thoughts. In surprise, he saw a white foot kicking his shoulder. Sakakibara turned his head and looked up along the slender and white girl's legs, only to find that Amamai Nanamai Mingzuki, who was wearing a bath towel, had come to his bathroom at some point. She held a bath towel and tied up her flaxen hair, with two low twin tails hanging behind her head. How did you come? Why can't I come? This is the bathroom, I'm still taking a bath. I've slept in your bed at least 3 times. Do you still care if we take a shower together? That's not what you said. At that time, your clothes were intact and I didn't touch you. Sakakibara's face was right next to her feet, and when he turned his eyes, he could naturally see her fair and slender legs. White yet pink, with perfect curves, her bare feet stepped on the water-stained bathroom slate. A little bit of the water that overflowed from the hot spring pool slid over her little feet, which were as pink and delicate as a newborn lotus. She kicked Sakaki Hararaku's shoulders with her feet again, signaling for him to get out of the way. "Auntie, you are really not particular about it. Go over there. Are you sure you want to swim with me? Of course I don't have any objections. You are the one who will suffer. Go over there." Tian Haikaiminyu repeated it again. "Chi Minjiao, if word gets out about girls taking a bath with men, your reputation will be in jeopardy." Tian Haikaiminyu kicked him in the face directly from behind. But Sakaki Hararaku was already prepared and grabbed it with his backhand. Soft and small. Sakakibara felt the feedback from his hands in his mind, and only came up with this idea. "Open. Don't let go. The current situation is very strange." Raku Sakakihara was lying in the large circular hot spring bath, with his back against the entrance, and standing behind him was Nanami, who had one of his feet pinched. She looked a little angry after her feet were pinched. "Open. Don't let go." Tian Haikaiminyu lowered her head slightly, glanced at his hand, and said calmly, "Do you want me to use my phone to take a video of you holding my foot for my sister to see?" Sakakibara immediately let go. But after he let go, he suddenly realized who was taking the bath with his cell phone. Sakakibara looked back decisively and found that Nanami seemed to have anticipated his thoughts and was holding his mobile phone in his hand. "You are already prepared, right? Okay, you are awesome." Sakakibara Raku gave up his position and allowed Nanami to enter the bathtub by himself. She stepped out, tested the water temperature with her toes, and then stepped on it. The hot spring water reached her ankles, knees, thighs, and navel. Her skin was stained by the steaming hot spring water. As she sank into the bath, her slender body and white collarbone were crystal clear. Tian Haikaiminyu wrapped herself in a bath towel and got into the bath, closing her eyes and concentrating. In 2 lifetimes, Sakaki Hararaku still took a hot spring bath with a girl. Seeing Tian Haikaimingyu's face with delicate eyebrows, it is impossible to say that there is no feeling. Her shoulders were half exposed on the water, and her naked collarbones were clearly defined. The heat mixed with her sweat beads, passed over her collarbones from her neck, caressed her white skin, and then silently melted into the water again. With her eyes closed, the serious and relaxed look while recuperating, mixed with the sweet smell of green apples that are vaguely scented by the hot spring water. Seeing this scene after bathing, Sakakibara felt as if a clear spring was washing his heart. This reminded him of the legend of encountering a young girl bathing in a hot spring on a snowy day. This is the kind of scene where you can see the beauty of a girl's upper body. But Xiaoqiu didn't seem to care at all about looking at her. She has been keeping her eyes closed since she entered the bath until now. It almost made Sakaki Hararaku think that she came here to soak in the hot springs. 7 bright moons. He shouted, but Xiaoqiu didn't respond. 7 bright moons. Still no response. 7 bright moons. What to do? The girl's voice was cold and ethereal. "Can you tell me why you like me so much?" Tian Haikaiminyu knew that he was asking questions knowingly and deliberately spoke to her, "I don't want to talk. If you don't have any important questions, just don't talk. Just relax and soak in your hot spring." Nanamijiu's cold response also made Sakakibara understand her true thoughts. She is very unhappy now. "You have been preparing for this today, right? Let Lingdu come and help you. Do you think I'm annoying, or do you think I'm very calculating?" There was no emotion in the voice. "I kind of feel that way." Tian Hai Chi Minjiu took a deep breath. "I've already said what I need to say. You have to fight for what you want. If you hate me, that's your own business. I don't think there's anything wrong with what I did. That's what I said. But the last thing Xiaoqiu wants to see is that he hates her. After all, the bond she had as a child was so important in her heart. As for why she said this now, it was because she was bleeding inside. There is no one left behind, but I am still holding on to the pain. As for why the 7 bright moons in the sky and the sea suddenly appeared here, the purpose is already very clear. She wanted someone to keep her company. Amami Nanamajetsu saw Sakakibara approaching her with a smile, and she hesitated for a moment or two. Don't you hate me? It's annoying. Then you can stay away from me. I haven't finished speaking yet, but I don't hate what you did today. You just want to beat your sister. I just hate you now. Chi Minjio, think about it, have you changed a lot? Before. It was still a little cold, but now it's getting colder and colder. Tian Haikaiminyu did not answer. Sakakibara followed up and said, you used to try to tease me, and you thought it was very funny, but now I think you are more angry, and you haven't calmed down towards Juriuri's anger. These words made Tian Haikaiminyu sigh softly. It doesn't matter who it is because of. Because Sakaki Hararaku was rejected time and time again, which made her very tired. Sakaki Haro looked at her, as if he could figure out what she meant from her words. The reason why Chi Minjio chose to do this was because of herself. I'm sorry, July. I really hurt her heart and her self-esteem too much. Is an apology enough? Definitely not enough. You just ran away from home after being dumped by your sister once. Rakusaki Sakaki Hara followed her words, his tone getting weaker and weaker. Nana Mingzuki was rejected by me again and again. Sakakibara remembered the way Nan Minjio said she liked him, and when she rejected him, she hugged the book tightly in her arms, and then kept looking at him. Being rejected by someone you have always admired since childhood is much more tragic than what happened to Sakaki Hararaku before. Moreover, Chi Minjio has always abided by the agreement between the two of them. Treat it like a treasure. What are you going to do to compensate? Anything is fine, as long as you say it. I want the rest of your life. Sakakibara smiled happily, you want me to be your slave for the rest of my life. Tian Haikaiminyu closed her eyes and said indifferently, you are worse than a slave. You can only listen to me, do what I want you to do, and be around me. I want you to listen to me, I want to help you deal with things, and I want you to always be by my side. After listening to Nanamajetsu's words too much, Sakaki Hararaku realized that there was always something in Nanamajetsu's words. Hidden under her mask, which was as sharp and cold as a wheat awn, was Chi Minjio's heart that was hotter and more persistent than anyone else's. 7 bright moons. No need to keep calling me, I'm not deaf. She has always packaged herself with strength. She also always hoped that someone would love her regardless. She also likes people to act silly in front of her to make her happy. And the result of doing this to her was that she gained persistence for more than 10 years. Thinking of this, Sakakibara felt like he was stuck in his throat when he looked at the beautiful and delicate cheeks of Amami Nanami. Chi Minjio, you have said words with special meaning to me many times before, right? So what? I remember you said that you would take me to see the real Tianhai family. I don't need to do anything. I can go to the highest position and overlook everything. I asked Julie Yulai, and she said you have a foundation, you said you would go check it out no matter what happened. Can I regard this as you preparing for me? You also told me that if I like a more leisurely life, nothing about the Tianhai family is important. As long as I want to leave, you will follow me. Sakaki Hara put his hands on the curved backrest beside the bathtub, breathed a sigh of relief, raised his head to the sky, and his eyes followed the heat of the hot spring water rising upwards. I used to think that if someone would like me, I would be very happy. If a beautiful girl is willing to follow me and like me, then I will be so grateful that Chi Minjio will do even more things to me. Tell me, if I don't like her, wouldn't it be a bit unjustifiable? This is simply God's mercy and gift, okay? If you don't like her, You will be struck by lightning, Sakakibara said half-jokingly. What do you want to say? Tianhai Kaimingyu finally opened her eyes, which were clear and moving. What I want to say is very simple. I will not be bored with you, Chi Minjiu, because of what happened today. On the contrary, I understand your mood very well and am moved by your actions. It's just the one-sided words of a scumbag. Little Tsundere. Seeing her cute appearance, Sakakihara laughed heartily. I understand now, I really like you, Kyo. What exactly do you want to say? Tianhai Kaimingyu's tone softened a little when she heard his words. He seemed to really mean what he said. It's not something you say simply to make yourself happy. I want you to return to your previous state, that Chi Minjiu who would tease me when nothing happened. It's hard. It's hard to keep trying, isn't it? Don't get so close. Tianhai Chi Minjiu held the towel on his chest with one hand and pushed his face with the other. Then let me call you Kyo, okay? No. The name July sounds so smooth and nice. I told you it won't work, but it won't work. July. July. You are annoying.